Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PIPCAST 3000, episode 155. I'm Caedo Genesis, joined by my co-host, Bad Company Sarge.
Hello there.
And this is a bi-weekly podcast every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific, where we talk about a little bit of gaming news and then jump into a Bethesda adjacent or open world RPG kind of thing topic. And in this episode, we're also joined by a special returning guest, William STRIFE.
Hello, how's everyone doing?
I don't think they're going to respond.
Hi, Will. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that you left a little pause after that.
I'm kind of in streamer mode already because that's what I'm going to do after we finish recording this.
Hi, chat. This is definitely happening 24 hours from now.
Without question. Without question.
Yeah. So, Will, for those who aren't familiar or haven't heard from you in a while, what is it you do?
I am mostly a streamer these days, but I'm still a bit of a YouTuber. Been active since late 2006 on YouTube, and ironically enough, the first video that I made was a little thing called the Oblivion Vampire Guide. So I might be coming home for this episode.
Ooh, and that's kind of why I invited you, I think, because yes, this is going to be the yay, we're glad we were right kind of episode, or we're glad that our hopes were not dashed, because we're going to be talking about the Oblivion Remaster in this episode.
Speak for yourself. I made an entire video. I've been proven wrong.
Oh yeah, except STRIFE. He got proven wrong.
Yeah, I said this is. I said it back in December. This is not happening, and
then
man, the minute that I saw the reveal, I was like, well. No, it was the leak. Whenever the leak happened, I was like, well, I better go leave a comment on my own video that I'm eating my words. People have specifically come back to see whether or not I had something to say about it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what this episode's going to be about. I think we'll have enough to talk about where we don't have to have a tier list to fill in time. But I appreciate when you do make them, Sarge.
No worries. I've already got all the birth signs, attributes, and skills cut out and ready.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, thank you, Wasteland Legends, Sven and Rose, for your support, as well as the other patrons and supporters of the PIPCAST 3000 on the main channel. And let's jump into the comments of the cast. And since Will is here, I want to see if Will wants to grab one from the YouTube and Spotify choices in reference to the previous episode.
Okay. I guess I'll just I'll start at the bottom of the list here.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you said, oh, you got a Spotify, and I don't know. I don't use Spotify.
I didn't scoff. I didn't say that. I didn't scoff. I didn't scoff in that way. I didn't.
You didn't scoff? You made some sort of a noise. I was just like, I don't know.
That was a Caedo's excited noise. The Spotify comments are more rare than the YouTube ones, so it's always a little treat for Caedo when he uncovers one.
You see, I didn't even know that Spotify had a comment section because I'm too old for that. I'm like, give me, I have MP3s. I don't want any of this streaming trash.
I mean,
so
I have the same mentality. I just, got requested to upload to Spotify so many times. I was like, how hard can it be? And it took me like a day to figure it out. So
kids today.
But it's basically YouTube. Like they have thumbnails and full video now and
really
timestamps and like I don't have to do anything different when I upload to Spotify.
I don't have to. It's slowly becoming the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my god! Like, how long before they introduce shorts?
How do you know they haven't already?
Okay, so this comment is hoping for the Oblivion remaster or remake. Love Skyrim, but I burnt myself out with it. I read that very strangely. Thank you both. Fafo been a big fan of yours from the beginning. Sarge just subscribed. I cannot read today. Sarge just subscribed to one of your channels to watch Adam Fall kill everything.
I like the typos of both of our names a lot.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
I'm Fafo and he's Sage.
Yeah, like my one's small enough that it's like, yeah, that's just a typo. But Caedo's one, like Fafo's not even a word.
I don't like. Yeah, that's gotta be shorthand for something. It's a little bit like FOMO, fear of missing out. It must be something similar.
fear
Urban
about
Dictionary will
everything
answer
falling
it.
off.
Oh man,
Jeez. That's just the life of a ghoul.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's accurate. Most people who've played Fallout, I think. But yeah, also, and the comments from Darko Sanders. I don't know if you said their name, but also, I can relate to being burnt out on Skyrim
Oh yeah.
for sure. So nice to do something a little different, a little bit.
I still have people asking me for Skyrim content, and it's like, come on, just give me a break, please. I'm covering Oblivion now. Isn't that good enough?
Yeah, Skyrim is. Don't get me wrong. It's great. It's a wonderful game, but you can get too much of it for too long. And let's not forget that there's basically been more time passed with a single Elder Scrolls release than it took to release like what, the first 4 titles or something. I don't know if it's been that
Sounds
long
right.
exactly.
It does sound right, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, Skyrim's wonderful. It's amazing. Maybe I'll play it again since they figured out how to wrap a new engine around the old one. We ultimately get Skyrim remastered or something.
Yeah.
Because I mean, let's not lie to ourselves. Like we're gonna get Fallout 3 remastered at this point. You know, they don't go out
Most likely.
and do what they did with the Unreal Engine and the Gamebryo engine for Oblivion without having bigger plans, because that's a lot of work to get 2 engines to work with each other.
Oh yeah,
it's part of the reason why, like with the Master Chief Collection in the Halo series, you got the whole entirety of the series almost. So they weren't there to just do one game.
Yeah. I've also just gone and double checked, and we are 1 year away for it being the same length of time between like Daggerfall and Skyrim as it is between Skyrim and Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. So we got
That is a long time.
yeah, got a lot of Elder Scrolls games in shorter time back then.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I mean, smaller studio, smaller horizons, you know?
yeah, one IP.
Less
That they were
expectations,
working on. Yeah.
less detail you need to put into things as well. Like,
More procedural generation. Starfield.
No. And we think that's supposed to make things easier. It still took forever.
yeah.
That's because, I mean, don't get me wrong. I can respect the concept of, like, procedurally generating a game, but it doesn't work for everything, you know?
You're right.
And your history for what you're known for matters as well. Bethesda doesn't have that history anymore. So the handcrafted world is what matters, and you know, the less said about that, the better. At this point.
This is not a Starfield episode
No, yeah.
No, it's not.
because it could be, but we're not. Yeah.
So,
probably
guys, when do
best
we
not
think
to.
the Starfield remaster's going to happen?
Ah!
Next week? Week after?
I mean, it's the hottest title that people want more of, obviously.
Yeah, Shattered Space was an amazing DLC. Anyway,
Okay,
Sarge,
so-
can you grab one of the YouTube comments?
Oh,
Please.
yeah.
And thank you, Darko Saunders.
Phoenix Guyver says, I'd be happy with a combination of unique and legendary. You have the true uniques in set area/quests with 3 effects, and random drops that only have 1 or 2 effects. So this is in regards to, like, Fallout's legendary system, and last episode, Caedo and I, grumbled a bit about uniques. I'm sure that totally won't happen in today's episode. Not a chance.
Definitely not. Nope.
But yeah, I'm someone who's like, no, I just want my uniques and my standard gear, let's keep it simple. But I do think this is like a compromise between the current Fallout going crazy with the number of stars and randomness and just, oh, you shot a Radstag who was legendary, here's a 2-shot Fat Man, versus like actually having something really good that you work through and it's a reward for a quest and it's built into the story and so on.
That is something that I miss about Fallout 3, the fact that that was basically all that it had.
Yeah.
Which admittedly was like, it's a limiting factor for the replayability of the game. You know, you're not going to get random equipment from just anywhere. You know exactly where it all is. But at the same time, for a content creation perspective, it's like, no, it's really easy to tell people where the good stuff is.
Yeah.
And like, if you're trying to play
it
a
is.
specific type of build, you don't just go, okay, you're playing as a sniper, so just farm legendaries until you happen to get the right effect and the right
Just
weapon.
pray to
It's
Todd
just-
that you get a sniper rifle, because that's the only way you're gonna
Yeah,
get it.
instead it's like,
Yeah,
no,
it's
no, you
stupid.
do this quest line, you get a good item, done.
Yeah.
I know that it's not the topic for this episode, but the one gun that was unique in Fallout 3 that always bothered me was a particular Chinese pistol that lit things on fire, and
The
it was
Shurong.
less. Yeah, that would be it. It was less powerful than your starter 10mm pistol, and I was like, this gun looks cool and it does a cool thing. Why does it suck?
Yep.
I hated it so much.
Yeah. That made me sad, because it was kind of riding the line of Borderlands absurdity, where like that's where I kind of wanted it to go, at least touch it a little bit and be useful. But it was like one of the most useless ranged uniques in the whole game. So
I just liked the look of the Mauser, which is what it was based off of, and I was just like, why have you put a worse gun in the game than what you start with? I don't understand.
yeah, because they already had the 32 as well, which was still also like kind of just below the 10 mil.
Yeah, it was worse than the 10mm, but still better than the. Why?
Yeah.
What is the balancing choice? I'm gonna move on from this, otherwise we'll talk too long.
Variety? I don't know. Which garbage do you want to wield? Anyway, yeah, let's. Thanks, Phoenix Guyver. That is an insightful suggestion, and I hope that happens someday beyond just Fallout 76, because that's the closest to that, I think.
Yeah. But let's talk about games with good weapons.
Yeah.
Good weapons. I don't know. This game here, like first on the chapters we got. Is it really known for good weapons? I don't think that game is known for combat either.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
so it is mostly a narrative walking simulator, but I do think the Doom games still manage to just about get the combat right, so that it's a bit more than that.
God, when does the next Doom game come out anyway? I don't remember.
2 weeks.
This month.
I think it's
I
like
think.
2 weeks
Yeah.
away.
Yep.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
jeez,
Yeah.
that one is.
Honestly, part of the reason I was like, I'm not sure if I'll actually have like the Elder Scrolls remaster for Oblivion out was because Doom was only like a few weeks away at the time.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like competing with themselves, but then
Yeah.
again, I suppose those games aren't really the same audience specifically.
Oh, it's like 9 days away.
Oh my word.
Yeah, we got just over a week.
We'll see whether or not I actually have time for it. It's not like there's like a million other amazing games that have come out this year.
Yeah,
and we were talking just before recording that like they've delayed Grand Theft Auto 6, which is going to throw open the floodgates for a lot of other games this year.
I mean, I'm almost glad they've done that because we have had a bunch of really good games this year. And if GTA 6 then came out towards the end of the year, it would just be, GTA 6, Game of the Year, GTA 6, that's what everyone's playing. And I feel like a lot of other games would kind of get pushed to the side.
GTA 6 best action game, GTA 6 best soundtrack, GTA 6 best ongoing player base.
Yep.
I mean, how often does it feel like there was like an amazing game that came out earlier in the year, but then because the new thing came out way closer to award season that it's the only thing anybody remembers?
Oh, you mean like Hi-Fi Rush?
Yeah, that would be one. I remember I think it was Destructoid, the website. They gave Game of the Year to Lethal Company, but like that was a game that people only talked about for a month for the most part in my experience. So it was like, I get it, I really do. It was great, but I don't remember what came out within that year. But I was like, wait, what? What? Why did you do that game? There was so many other things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's always a problem with proximity bias.
oh my god, it's so real.
FF7 Rebirth as well was earlier in the year, last year, I think, right?
That was I've been I was thinking about it because I like saw the box next to my PlayStation. And I was like, wait a minute, did you come out this year or
I think
last
it was
year?
February.
I can't remember.
It was like a month earlier than remake.
Man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, there is recency bias in awards, definitely, because it's. I mean, it's all bias. So.
So
yeah.
why did we talk about Doom?
Hey,
We didn't cover why we talked about
there's
Doom.
a humble
question.
bundle because clearly there's not enough games to play. So Caedo put on a news article about how you can buy even more games.
Yeah, now it's a direct link to the Humble Bundle, so you don't have to. You can cut out the middleman and just go spend more money on games.
Fantastic. Is that a a sponsored link? Are you getting
No.
sponsored money here?
No.
Caedo
No, I
shilling
wouldn't want
for
to be
Humble
sponsored.
Bundle. It's getting
Humble
paid
already-
millions, I tell you.
Humble already gives too much of the money to publishers anyway. I wouldn't want to take another chunk out of it. But this is the id and Friends bundle, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's got Doom Eternal, it's got Wolfenstein, Cyberpilot, New Colossus, Doom VFR, coupons for Doom the Dark Ages, Wolfenstein Youngblood, you can skip that one. Doom 2016, Doom 1 and 2, Wolfenstein the New Order, Wolfenstein the Old Blood, Doom 3, and Doom 64. So, you'll have plenty to do.
Yeah.
And I can't recommend Wolfenstein enough. Also, if you like, a more narrative-focused shooter, because...
I'll admit, I think the most fun that I've had with all of the games out of this entire pack, it would be Wolfenstein the Old Blood.
Yeah.
Because it was basically Wolfenstein the New Order, but it was like way more dense, way more compact, and it goes in like a bit of a horror direction with some familiar tropes. I won't say what they are, but no, the Old Blood is by far I think my favorite thing out of all of this, because it's standalone, it's small, it's compact, and it's like, no, that's just good shooter territory with a decent story, and it really does not overstay its welcome. It pointed out that was the game that helped me to find other related World War II shooters that were just fun,
Yeah.
not historic, just fun.
Alternate timeline.
Yes.
Different kinds of shooters, because that's what made the Resistance series also interesting in that way. It's like it was definitely kind of a World War scenario, but you were fighting aliens instead of another human nation.
Resistance, the Fall of Men. Oh my
Yeah.
word. There's a series that I have thought on more than one occasion.
It was
Jeez,
the first serious foray that Insomniac did.
Yes. I still have all 3 games on the PS3, and I've thought about that so often. It's like, man, why can't they just do the thing that they've done with a lot of old games and just put them on? I don't know what it would take. I don't know what assets they still have access to, but
I have no idea.
I don't think we'll ever see it. But man, I love that trilogy, and I would love to see it on a modern PC setup.
Yeah.
Anyway,
not be so gray, because that's largely what I remember.
I don't know, man.
How washed out it was.
It was the sepia tone mud colored era of video games.
That's true, but we've advanced, so
we
had
had
more
to
diversity.
We were in the first generation of HD graphics. The only way to show the HD was to really dirty everything up.
And then have a couple light sources
Just a few.
that
Just a few.
projected big shadow.
Oh, you're in the back pocket of Big Shadow now, are you?
What? Yep. One other bundle that I grabbed as a bonus because I ended up gifting it to my nephew was the XCOM game bundle, which has all of them, all of them. If you spend $25, you get all the classics as well as the Firaxis XCOM games, which are outstanding. Like XCOM, Enemy Unknown, and XCOM 2, War of the Chosen. Some of the best turn-based strategy games out there.
I'm surprised that they didn't make a third one.
It's because they were moved to working on a Marvel game.
Oh, I had no idea.
Midnight Suns was the thing that they worked on after Chimera Squad. And Chimera Squad didn't do very well. It was like a spin-off thing.
I mean, the XCOM games are not my cup of tea, you know? There's just something about that style of gameplay where I'm like, I just, it's not doing it for me. So I can't have, no opinion.
Which is a bummer, but I understand.
I mean,
it's just like me in Minecraft.
Oh yeah. It's like, it sucks to watch a million other people be like, oh, this is the greatest thing in the world, and maybe you can sit there and watch other people play it and be like, yeah, I'm feeling your energy, but the minute I pick that game up, I can't do it. I just can't. So
I love XCOM in theory, but games that just give me like percentage chance to hits, I don't get on well with them. I swear they're out to get me.
That's exactly the XCOM vibe. Yeah. That's what they're supposed to feel like.
When I have like an 88% chance to hit though, and I miss like 10 times in a row, I just uninstall immediately. I can't take it. I just no.
That's the rage quit moment.
Yeah. I'm generally quite good at not rage quitting, but when I see the exact numbers and then they just don't work by this really slim chance, I cannot do it.
Yeah. Well, if you're not Sarge or Will, and you're more like me, and you like turn-based strategy games,
you're wrong. You're wrong. We'll just be honest about that.
You can spend like $10 to get the Firaxis ones, and you'll have weeks upon weeks of fun and losing your team members from bullcrap and mourning their loss, because that's what the games do to you. You get attached to your characters and then they die. Your squad members. Make sure to name them after people you like, and also your pets.
Yep.
You're just being rude now.
So there's what that's part of the fun. Hey, there's a game I know you've played, Will. I can't remember if you've played it, Sarge.
Nope.
No?
I don't think so. Like, I'm aware of this game. V Rising, I'm just going to say it. I don't know why I was like, I can't say the game's name. I'm aware of it.
Oh, it's supposed to be a secret reveal. Where's our big, like, 10, second countdown with, like, fancy graphics?
Okay, no, I have never played it, and I have never seen actual images of a game until I googled it right now. But I hear about it being talked about, and I never actually hear about the game. It's mentioned, and nothing about it is ever explained. And it does not look like what I was expecting.
V Rising, the best way to describe it to you is it's kind of, but not really, the mechanics of MOBA, like Dota or League of Legends, but it's entirely PvE. There is a possibility for PvP built into the game, but it's mostly built around PvE. And just advancing your character by building better equipment.
I was going to go a different direction.
Really? What were you going to say?
It's Diablo with survival craft.
That's not entirely bad either. But then again, like, it's the last Diablo game that I played was Diablo 3. I tried the Diablo 4 demo, and I was just like, well, that's okay, but I've got other stuff to do.
You're doing better than me. Or it's Path of Exile with survival craft, whichever you want to.
Path of Exile would probably be the better example
because I played
to use.
Diablo 2 last. I didn't touch anything after that.
If you ever get the opportunity to pick up Diablo 3 just for its story alone, not half bad. Yeah. But it's an aged game as well.
Diablo 4 has some beautiful cinematics.
That's what I was taking home
That's
from
just Blizzard in general.
Yeah. If you just want to skip over the actual gameplay and watch all the cinematics from Diablo 4, masterpiece. Can't recommend it highly enough.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yep. We don't have time.
I think my biggest issue with V Rising was the fact that when it initially came out in early access, like, I couldn't get enough of it. and but like it was early access. You know, the further from the early game you get, the less developed the game is, and the more like, well, what am I supposed to do now? You kind of putter out. You don't typically hit a wall on early access games. You just realize there's not really anything else to do, and they stop directing you where to go.
Yeah.
So that happened in like the grind, super compounding in the game.
Because early in the development, before they came out with the other biomes, like the grind was rough.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I expected them to let up on the grinding a lot more than they did. So even though they've got the 1.1 update, I guess this is, the Oakveil update, which is why you brought it up. I've gone back and I've tried to play after the 1.0, and I was just like, man, this game, they let up on the grinding, but there's still a stupid amount of grinding that I'm doing. And I don't know that I want to do this. So I never got as far as I did with the game in its early access. So I don't know. Maybe if they adjusted some of the grindiness of the game.
That is also something you can adjust yourself.
You can adjust it yourself.
Adjust it, like cater it to your own playstyle. Because I think last time we went really hard on the game, the Union and I, he modified the amount we could, the amount items would stack to and stuff like that. Fortunately, they updated that to where like basic resources could stack much higher. But yeah, prior to that, it was just tired of doing the back and forth, so we just multiplied the amount we could carry.
Like the number one thing that I would do is just like, you can't take items through the teleporter, and
I think that's a toggleable now too.
Yeah, that's a toggle. It's like, shut that off. And it's like, I get why they would do that, because it's like, well, the horses are in the game, and if you can just use the portals, then what's the purpose of the horses, or something like that. So I get what they were trying to do.
I mean, it's partially the Valheim mentality. I like not using portals in Valheim, and up until a certain point, the game forcing you to take a ship to get resources and then come back to base, because a lot of things can happen in between that and turn into its own adventure. So V-Rising a little less so. Yes. It's
such a balance, because when you force a player to not use a rapid transit system, it opens up, like you said, an entire adventure unto itself, but it also creates a situation of how much time are you requiring a player to have.
And unfortunately, survival games don't have much of a sweet spot except for having those like difficulty options. Because survival games are always time sinks. I can't think of one that isn't.
I mean, even my favorite survival games, where I'm like, it's not too bad, I look back at it and I'm like, no, it is bad. You haven't started the game and been like, I wish I was at the end game by now.
If I look at any of the ones in my library and see 100 hours, I'm in my head, I'm like, rookie numbers.
Oh my god.
It's like, because that's his early game. What are you doing? Like Zomboid especially. And they keep updating it.
Oh, I mean, some games will forever be updated, probably.
Yes.
I mean, number one game that I can think of, Dwarf Fortress, probably never going to stop.
Oh yeah. I
got myself a copy of that.
I haven't bought it myself yet.
I got myself a copy, and I'm like, I'm totally going to play this. And then, of course, like, I think about all the other things that I have down. I bought a copy of freaking Red Dead Redemption 1, and I still haven't started it on. So.
But yeah. This is, I should mention that the Oakveil update is a free update to, like, people who own the game.
Nice.
Yes.
This is the next biome in V-Rising, as well as like they introduced a couple new weapon classes, which is really cool. Claws are now in, which I was so happy to see. Eddie martial arts or fist-related weapons are my favorite, as a lot of you probably know. So, that's...
Oh, is that what you've been playing in Oblivion?
Mayhaps.
Just the drunken monk?
Maybe. You'll never guess what I've been playing in Baldur's Gate as well. But we'll get to that later. I wanted to bring up the V Rising update because there is a lot there. If you have at least one other person to play something like this with, it's a very stylish looking game. It's got the cool like blood system where the blood you drink determines your class bonuses kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that the whole blood system was fascinating.
It's really
took me
cool.
a bit to figure it out.
Yeah.
Once I understood, I was like, okay, this is not what I expected it to be. I'm actually I'm watching everything that I'm encountering now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like if you want to be like a tanky, like hard hitting person, you look for warrior blood. If you want to gather a lot of stuff, you look for worker blood. That's high quality, like that kind of stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah. Just the giddiness that you can get where it's like, oh, I found something that's like 80%.
Yeah.
It's such a random chance to get to find somebody.
And then eventually you can basically invest in making some of them cattle in your vampire's castle and feeding them the various fish you catch the fishing in the game just to make sure that they don't get so upset they die.
Yes. Yeah, it's just the strangest thing ever. It's like, what's the purpose of fishing? You feed your cattle.
Actually great.
Wait, what? How could you make such a chill and pleasant minigame so sinister?
Vampires. Yeah. So I wanted to point that out just because it's a fun indie game that I've enjoyed a lot in the past, and it's got even more stuff to enjoy, and it's not a ridiculously expensive game.
Yes.
So, and I think that's important too, is being mindful of people's price points, which is why we talk about humble bundles as well. You can get a lot of game for a little bit of money if you're looking.
Oh, come on. You're telling me that you're not gonna pre-order the Nintendo Switch 2 and Mario Kart World?
I've already made that gamble with the games that I've made videos on, and I'm good there. Also, no, I hate Nintendo.
Oh my word. Okay.
Anyway, something that might be on Nintendo, I don't know, is The Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah.
We got to see some actually combat footage, and the developers talking about it a little bit.
Yep.
And it looks nicely tuned. This was an IGN interview kind of thing. It didn't really feel like an interview. They weren't cutting in the questions. It was more just the developers talking.
Yeah, it felt more like a dev diary than anything else.
Yeah. Which bugs me slightly because the dev diary side of it is great, and that is most of the video. But the IGN-ness of it all is just a bit annoying. There's even, like, to illustrate that, one of the top comments on the video is that the devs at one point say, one of the things you can do now is parkour, and then the footage just shows a guy walking up some stairs.
Yeah.
And that's something they just keep doing with, like, the IGN editors just keep doing with the footage. It's good footage, but it's unrelated to what's being said, like, 99% of the time.
Well, maybe they're just trying to be relatable, because those of us who are in our late 30s, that's the kind of parkour we're probably going to be doing. Big Sarge.
No.
I mean, I'd love to brag about how many stairs I walk up, but I don't actually live in a place with stairs. So, I've not been up a stair in months. I don't know how bad it is anymore.
I live in an upstairs apartment. No accidents yet, but, you know.
Yep, I live in a 2 stories, so, you know, I live in those first world problems. Oh, God, I forgot something downstairs. Do I do it, or do I not?
I gotta go ask the neighbor for something.
Yeah, the hour... do we know when it's coming out? Have we gotten a release date for that yet, or...
I
feel like we haven't.
Question. I also feel like we haven't, but I don't know. No, it's supposed to be out this year. But
God,
we don't know when. Yeah.
Atomfall, Avowed, Oblivion, and so many other games this year.
This year is kind of potentially crazy. Like, even at this point, if everything gets delayed that's supposed to come out this year to, like, next year, we've still had a bunch of good games release. Like, enough that it would be good for a normal year.
Yeah. It's already going to be a pretty hot award season when it comes around because of the things that have come out. And we're not even at the halfway mark.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
My
That's
word.
Exciting. One of the things I like seeing, though, I mean, besides them talking about the improved mobility, which is just them telling us that they're getting with the times, basically. Because if Starfield does it, that means they probably have to do it too. Which is mantling and sliding.
What? Oh, mantling and sliding. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like,
Just like
wait, what did
basic
Starfield do that?
movement.
The basic advanced movement, yes.
It's so weird because, like, Borderlands 2 is a game that I've played so much of, you know, but I have such fond memories of it, and then I have to remember that is like the main gulf of difference between Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3. It's the fact that you can mantle and do and slide and do stuff like that, and that's just not in Borderlands 2.
There was a gameplay jump between 2 and 3.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, there was like 10 years between the two games or something. I don't remember.
It was quite a while,
yeah. Also, showing off some of the tools that they have, like they're not X-ray goggles, but they're similar to that for like stealth related play and things. I did enjoy hearing them talk about the love that they put into Melee. They were comparing to Avowed, because they are, an Obsidian team as well. They were talking about Avowed being a game with swords with a bonus of guns. I'm paraphrasing here, but this is Outer Worlds 2 is a game with guns with a bonus of melee weapons. So it's not their entire focus, but they're trying to make sure that all playstyles are respected, which is always something I've loved about Obsidian games, because they actually, when they implement a weapon type or a playstyle, they actually make it viable.
Yeah, and the fact that they were like, Avowed guns were like a secondary, and ranged options were a secondary. Like, ranged options in Avowed are still good and felt decent. It's not like you played
by good you mean insanely powerful and busted.
I mean insanely powerful and busted points,
game.
but also just felt satisfying to use. The fact that that's their non-priority combat system and it still feels good is a very good sign.
I can't fathom where this salt is coming from. I mean, when I played Starfield, I did only melee.
Ah!
I can't get it out. Oh my word!
Okay, to shift it away.
This is like, hey Bethesda, hey, don't put boxing and or unarmed in your game if you're not gonna freaking respect it.
Yeah.
How about that, please?
Something
Especially after so many games that I do play that do respect it and do make it a fun way of play. I don't know.
Something I absolutely love about this footage, which I don't think they ever actually touch on, is that it looks like we're getting much longer TTK and TTD, time to kill and time to die. Because one of my biggest problems with the first Outer Worlds was that a lot of combat could just be over in like a couple of seconds, like especially early game. If an enemy had an automatic weapon, or you had an automatic weapon, but it was just, duh-duh-duh, they're dead, duh-duh-duh, you're dead. And I just felt like, regardless of the build you played as well, it was always fairly quick and just... battles were over a minute tops, and that's if you were like being stealthy and stuff. In the footage we're seeing, there's a lot more like tanky enemies, but the player being tanky as well, and having to use different tools to overcome that. And that is something I really like.
Yeah. Like, seeing the way that some of the weapons were just like, oh, no, that was not built to take on that heavily armored, auto mechanical or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to have a different plan for that, or you're going to be like dumping all of your existing ammo
Yeah.
on one guy. So I like what that I like the way that it seems to be going, but at the same time, I also sit here. I'm going to be honest. When you linked this video and said, "Hey, you should probably watch this before we do the podcast," I was like, "Oh, that is a game. I forgot about that."
Well, they've been kind of quiet until recently.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to like say anything bad about Obsidian and the Outer Worlds, but
Oh, do it.
it
Up that engagement.
it was forgettable. I'm sorry, but it was. And there's an entire like video essay to pulling apart what the purpose of the story in the Outer Worlds was, and the flaws of how the story was built, and the reason why we typically write stories the way that we do in traditional media. There's so much going on narratively that's worth it, but as a game, it just not really wasn't really doing anything. It didn't feel amazing, even though the absolute best part of it was talking to people. But the world was a huge weak point to me, which is, I was hoping for more, like amazing exploration in that game. So
yeah, I think I would agree with you, honestly. That's also a slight concern I have with Obsidian stuff, because I also loved Avowed, which is their most recent game, and talking to characters and stuff was once again a really good part. And while they did make the combat better, the way they did the whole world design and the progression kind of took away from the game, and there is a voice in the back of my head going, there's going to be some core element that's just wrong with the Outer Worlds 2. And I don't know what it will be, but I'm sure it'll be.
I remember having this back and forth with people in comments on my videos whenever New Vegas came out.
Yeah.
Because I was very adamant when it came out. I was like, listen, it's a great game. It really is. But I think that Fallout 3 is better because it's truly an open world. You can go in any direction. There are no invisible walls, etc. And New Vegas, it's not that it's bad. It's not that there isn't anything good about it. It's that it is very much designed around getting you to go around the map in a particular direction.
Yeah.
And if you want to fight that, then you're gonna have less fun probably. The only alternative is you've played through the game so many times that you're trying to do things new and different, and you know all the intricacies of the game.
Less fun or be forced to be creative.
Yes. So, it's like, and I still come back to that point, all these years later, and I'm like, no, I think that Fallout 3 has the better world to New Vegas, but New Vegas is just so head and shoulders above for its writing, and it's like tight knit of like how the combat systems and the crafting systems are built to like really complement each other, that New Vegas is a better game over 3. But the world is still a factor, so.
Tell us in the comments which game is better, New Vegas or Fallout 3.
Oh yeah, that old argument. Oh boy, what year is it? 2008?
And then it's
2010.
And then it's that's not, and nobody's gonna listen to the to the topic. They're just gonna argue about 3 or New Vegas.
Well, we still have one
should...
more game to argue about before we get to the topic.
We do. That's true.
An entire hour in before we get to the actual topic of the day.
I was going to do a whole rant beforehand, being like, there are episodes where Caedo and I like don't have a specific topic that we're like pushed towards, and there's basically no big gaming news that has come out. This time, we got Strife on as well. That's already like a bunch more talking and stuff that's going to happen. We got the Oblivion Remaster to talk about. That's a bunch of stuff. And then all the gaming news happened this week. There was just so much stuff, and it just wouldn't stop. And it's like, can we not just spread this out?
I chose not to add more.
Yeah.
Like, there was plenty more I could add, but I didn't.
I mean, I feel like I should ask you what those other things are, but it's a dangerous question. We don't need more to talk about.
Like GTA 6 and that whole
that was gonna be one
thing.
Of them.
But there's constant stuff, and I feel like I've forgotten more news stories than have been listed here as well.
There's the world is moving so fast at the moment.
Too fast.
God.
It's so much. But anyway,
Save me now.
Borderlands 4. We got a bunch of gameplay about it, and I know not everyone's going to agree with me, but I'm excited and looking forward to this. I like shooting things. And I like bright colours and fancy effects. And going Daka Daka.
Oh no. Oh.
Yeah.
I felt pretty clever when I talked about when I linked it and then said Randy Pitchford looking like his soul left his body 10 years ago. I don't like him.
Oh my god.
But he also has that fake excited energy.
My god, I just opened the video.
What? He's dressed like Hello Fellow Kids, but his excitement is so fake about the game. It's like I don't like him. Anyway, the game though, the game looks cool, and I'm still not convinced that Vex and Ava aren't the same person.
Okay.
Because Vex was the Vault Hunter that they were showing off, the new Siren.
I mean, I could see that. It's kind of one of those rules that they have to have a Siren be a character.
They have to. Yeah, I know that. I know that much.
Up. So I could totally see this being like, I don't know. I haven't watched anything for it because as far as I'm concerned, I'm like, after my experience with Borderlands 3, I was just like, don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Do not care. So, but no, knowing what I do about the story of Borderlands 3, it's like, yeah, Ava being a character would be totally in line.
Like she inherited Maya's powers, so it's like she's going to have some kind of thing in the story. I just don't want her there. Like at all.
She is a very thoroughly disliked character.
Yes,
that is for certain.
But there were some aspects of 3, like if we go back a little bit, I have fond memories of the Guns, Love, and Tentacles expansion. I did like that one.
That, and I don't remember the name of it, but Krieg's Mind one.
I never played any of the DLC.
We have listed the 2 good ones.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, it was the Handsome Jackpot, wasn't it?
Oh, the Handsome Jackpot existed as well. I think Caedo and I even played through that together.
One entirely.
I only remember about it because I've got like some wallpapers of it.
Yeah, but I forgot about it entirely.
Yeah, there are 2 good DLCs for Borderlands 3, and they kept bringing out DLCs, and they split it into like 2 season passes, which is a thing that still annoys me, and is why, even though I plan on getting Borderlands 4, I don't plan on getting any DLC for it. Because in Borderlands 3 they did, here's the whole like full game with all the DLC. And then like a year afterwards it was like, and now you can buy more DLC with a 2nd season pass. And there was like 1 thing attached onto that, and it was just a really bad system. I hate it so much.
Yeah. Agree.
But 2 of DLCs were good.
But yeah. We're going to be on a new world in Borderlands 4.
I do like how they only mentioned 1 world. It sounds like we're just on 1 planet this time. Because while I did kind of like the whole space exploration, it's just easier and better to stick to a planet.
Yeah.
Frankly, I think that was one of the problems I had with the 3rd game. It was the fact that I was like, okay, like we're basically getting different regions based on the different planet. Like they kind of did a Star Wars where it was like, oh, each planet is like an entire biome unto itself or something like
that. Which feels like, so weird when Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 show that Pandora has like all of the biomes we're used to and more. Like it's it did feel like almost a step in the wrong direction.
It's because they went ham on the scope. Like when I think it was at the end of Borderlands, there's vaults everywhere in the galaxy or whatever, and then they're like, oh great, good, we're going everywhere. Cool.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know whether or not they were really planning to do anything with that with the end of Borderlands 2, because they just basically put the franchise down at that point for so long. You know,
we have the pre-sequel. You know, everyone's favorite Borderlands game.
Nope.
I
mean, will not convince me, Sarge. It will not happen.
You have no idea. I was talking with people about that game, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I've played the pre-sequel," and I was like, "Really? Like, but Borderlands 2 is right there." I was like, "Yeah, but I played the pre-sequel. It's the new one." I'm like, "But Borderlands 2 is right there."
I will say, in defense of a pre-sequel, I actually did a whole playthrough of it not that long ago, and it is better than its reputation.
What I specifically remember is that the quests are too long. Like a lot of the mainline quests last too long. The dungeons are too... They miss their sweet spot entirely.
Yeah.
And for me, specifically, I don't know if this is just a me thing, but the verticality of a lot of the levels just confused the crap out of me.
Yes, there is one level in particular, you're on the Helios space station, but it's all, broken up, and you're just kind of expected to figure out how to jump between platforms. But because you've got, the boosting and the zero gravity and all of this stuff, sometimes you're supposed to travel to a platform that's, off in the distance, and you've got no way of knowing it. It's... Yeah. There was some real bad level design in that.
I think the less we talk about Borderlands right now, the better.
Fair enough.
Fourth game is coming.
It is.
Maybe if I feel compelled sometime far in the future. But right now, because they announced it's coming out 2 weeks earlier this year.
September 12th is the release date of Borderlands 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I can guarantee September 12th, I'll still be playing Oblivion. So...
That segues right into our topic, doesn't it, Will?
Yes, it does. I mean, maybe something came out within the last 2 weeks. Maybe. I don't know, guys. Was there something that we kind of saw the writing on the wall for, and maybe at least one of us thought that it wasn't going to happen at all, and had to eat his words on that?
And then one of us was optimistic but not expecting anything because he had other projects to work on and he had to put on the back burner because they're all half done, and now the remaster happens to be out and he's got a third project now that's in the works.
Oh, really? Sarge, I didn't know that was the case for you.
Oh, yeah, totally what happened for me. I didn't spend a couple of days just doing nothing and waiting at my computer to see if Oblivion would come out.
Okay, so you know what, where were you when the leak happened? Because it was the big leak that happened 4 some odd days before it.
Yeah, one sec, I will check.
I was
the
asleep
dates.
probably.
Yeah, it was about 6 days beforehand. I know because I made videos on the day it came out and the day the leaks all happened. And yeah,
Oh, man.
I saw stuff on TikTok where creators who didn't lie all the time were now talking about Oblivion remake / remaster / whatever. So I was like, oh, okay, I better actually do some digging into this. Because I'd had months of sup guys, you know about the Oblivion remake and it's gonna be $15 and it's gonna add dragons into the game. Those sorts of videos were everywhere for months. And obviously I paid no attention to them. But as soon as I started having people who actually was willing to listen to talk about it, I did my research and was like, oh, okay, these leaks could be real. Or they could be fake. They're probably real, but maybe it's fake. I care about evidence, and I'm aware of how things can be faked, and I'm also aware that I don't know enough about how things can be faked to tell, one way or the other, 100%. So, yeah, I just spent a morning researching it. That's what I was doing when it got not announced.
Not announced.
Yeah.
God.
I spent minus the whole sleeping part, I spent part of the time making fun of people that were going way off the deep end on minimal information.
Yeah.
Because I've been around too long to really invest that amount. I can be hopeful and, quell my excitement a little bit because, it's Oblivion, but I don't go into the realm of oh, they're going to add cut content from the original game and they're going to add a Soulsborne counter system and stuff like that. And
that was something that was going around that I was I really hope that that's not true, because
Yeah.
when the leak that happened 6 days prior to the release happened, I like a bunch of that information came rushing back to my memory.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm really worried about the possibility of that being the case, because Oblivion does not need to be a Souls-like.
Yeah.
It does, like, that's the last thing that an Elder Scrolls game needs to be, because what's the best way to phrase it? The dullness of the combat, as a lot of people like to describe it, because it's not like involved and intricate. A lot of people say, like, that's a negative. You need to fix that. You need to make it a Souls-like. And I'm like, I think that the combat needs to stay the same.
Well, here's the thing.
Mostly.
If you want it to be Souls-like, just move the difficulty slider a little bit. There you go. You'll get one shot, no problem.
No, you can't move it a little bit anymore. It's not a slider. It's preset buttons now.
Okay, move it to expert, and then you'll have the same experience, because that needs to be balanced.
I mean, in terms of changes, I personally do quite like that it's no longer a slider and is now distinct things.
Oh yeah, same.
It's just, there's a lot more clarity on, like, the level of difficulty you're playing as now, rather than literally just being like, okay, if I tweak the slider a tiny bit, let's see what happens. It's I do
No, it's severely
seconds.
imbalanced right now. But
Yeah.
I actually had a coworker who, like, I spoke to him about Oblivion a long time ago, and he told me that he would never play, like, he hated the game because he couldn't play it like a real gamer. And I was like, what are you even talking about?
what does
He
that
said
mean?
He never plays a game without putting it to hard. So he found that difficulty slider and he snapped it all the way right. Never played Oblivion before. Couldn't get out of the dungeon. Couldn't get out of the sewers. And I was like, you really do need to leave that in the middle. But this guy is like a hard-headed person. He's like, no, this is the way I do things, and I will never, ever. And I'm like, I don't think you understand that some games have a difficulty setting, and they were never meant to have a difficulty setting. Like, that was an afterthought. And Oblivion is the best example of it. But nope, he wouldn't hear it any other
Yeah.
way. He had some really cockeyed ideas about a lot of things, but that is the one really pertinent example that I
That's
have right
funny.
here. So
Hey, if anybody needs to hear it, you're not a fake gamer if you play on normal or easy.
No.
yeah,
That's not the case at all. Like, sometimes
know what,
you just want to slam through a game, and that's okay. Sometimes you don't want to get stomped into the floor. That's okay too.
you know what you might be if you're playing on super easy mode?
Happy.
You might be a human being with a child to take care of and very little time on your hands. That is the most common example of it. It's like, I'm a dad or a mom or something. I don't have time. I'm lucky if
Or
I've got
maybe
an hour.
maybe you're a sheep farmer. Maybe you have like 20 head of sheep, and you got to take care of them too.
I mean, listen, those gaming laptops, they are durable. They can take a lot of punishment out in the field these days.
I wouldn't take it anywhere near a herd of sheep, dude.
Oh, I think for me, I think I had just woken up, and one of the first things that I do that I should never do whenever I wake up in the morning is I grab my phone and I've usually left it on Reddit because that's just the version of social media poison that I stick to.
You're making me feel so much better about my early morning TikTok scrolling. It's like, at least it could be worse.
It has to be silent for me. I can't watch TikToks in bed whenever my wife is next to me. I'm like, no, I'll wake her up with that So, like, I open it up, and of course, because I like the, like, 20-year-old nostalgic, crotchety sense of humor from the Oblivion subreddit, I follow it. So all of a sudden I'm blasted with images.
Oh, it's so much fun. It was so much fun watching the Oblivion subreddit freak out.
Yes. So, like, that's how I found out. And I think that I don't know if you were aware of the leak before I told you about it as well, Caedo. Was I the first one that got to you about it, or
Which
the
I think
one
you might
with
have
all
been.
the one with all the screenshots where it was like, oh, someone accidentally published the website and they grabbed the screenshots off of it before they unpublished the website.
Yeah, you might have been
So-
the first. No, maybe there might have been somebody in my Discord as well. It was one of you.
It was
because Jaina was
'cause
pretty quick on the draw too.
I remember like I know that I messaged you and I was like, yeah, this is a thing, and you made a comment where it was like, oh no, I'm not talking about that old stuff. I'm talking about this that happened a couple hours ago, and you were like, hey, what? That's what I seem to remember anyway.
Something along those lines.
But man, just when I saw it, when I went through the screenshots, I was like, oh no. Oh no, because this day and age, it's like you look at screenshots and you have to be like, okay, is this AI generated or
count the fingers on the goblin. Does it
Yeah.
have weird teeth, or does does eyes have
Count
multiple...
the fingers on the goblin is so annoying because it's got fewer than human fingers. So I had to go into old school Oblivion and count the fingers there as well.
Or if the remaster corrected it and gave them four fingers and a thumb.
And like, so I'm looking at these screenshots and I'm like, okay, are they AI generated? And then I conclude, no, it's not possible. Like, I'm not getting any red flags anywhere. And then I look at the screenshots and I'm like, okay, mods. I've seen so many graphical mods for Oblivion over the years. How could this be just a bunch of mods? And I'm staring at everything and I'm like, no, you couldn't have done textures like this in a 32-bit engine. Oh,
yeah,
no.
And it's like, but also like Sky Oblivion, they have plenty of like screenshots to see, and they're very different.
Very different.
In like even just the color palette.
Yeah.
And I mean, most of it is just straight up in the graphical rendering engine, because what Bethesda can get done with the creation engine is so muted by comparison to what Unreal 5 can do. You know?
I will say one slight concern I had, which I don't think I actually broached when I was covering, like, is it real or is it fake, is that Elder Scrolls Online obviously exists and looks kind of similar to the Oblivion remastered thing. So I was like, this kind of looks like ESO. Like, there was enough difference that I was like, I'm not going to say that out loud, but that was always in the back of my head, that maybe, like, ESO was getting a slight remaster with some stuff set in the Imperial City or whatever. Like, there was so many possibilities.
I remember one of the things that the Reddit community pointed out was, oh, have you guys noticed that, like, they're just not doing any additional events for this conspicuous gap of time in ESO all of a sudden on their schedule, when they have a very consistent schedule for events?
That's something they do. That's something they space it out if there's going to be an announcement.
So I was like, oh, there might be overlap.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I mean, the silence on Starfield was one of the kind of hints to me, is because Shattered Space happened and then nothing.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sold on that side of things. I'm like, maybe they just don't want to talk about Starfield at the moment.
It could be that as well, but I think that was also, part of opening up the space to have some other thing get announced, because you don't want to have one open world Bethesda RPG overlapping another one, even if it's a remaster.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what their plans for Starfield are at this point, but,
Hide it under the
I hope
bed.
it's better than Shattered Space. I hope whatever the Starborn expansion is really just blows it out of the water, because good God.
I mean, I've lost all hope at this point. I'm just like, my expectations are at 0, and I still expect to be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping it on a better track.
Yes, thank you.
What, pray tell, like, we've got an array of, like, what we thought would happen. I was firmly in the camp of it's just the community, like huffing its own farts, right up until it wasn't.
Which happens.
And it ranges to, like, oh, like this could really be real. But, what was your thought whenever they actually announced it? Because I'm assuming all of us watched the special stream.
Yeah, I watched the stream too.
Okay.
My brain goes content.
Yeah.
Content.
That's pretty much where mine went to. And also like, man, I hope my guides are still relevant. Oh my God, please let them be still relevant. And they are. So, that part was nice.
Oh, man,
because I only made them 2 years ago.
I was utterly baffled. I was just like, well, I kind of knew it, but like, I think my biggest surprise was the fact that like all of the rumors were saying that it was going to be shadow dropped on Monday, and then they did it on Tuesday instead.
Oh god, there are so many comments from people that I want to just jab at them and be like, no, you were wrong. I know it exists, but you were still wrong, and I still want you to feel bad about that.
The amount of posts that people were just like, if it drops tomorrow, I'm gonna do this. It devolved so much. It's like slamming nuts into a fridge door and like shaving beards, and it was insane how many different things people were willing to do to be proven right, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh my word. Okay. So it's not the exact same game. It is like 90% the exact same game, you know, sans the graphical changes that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know about you guys, but insofar as the changes go, the biggest thing that I am absolutely loving is the fact that there's no longer a need to do efficient leveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can actually make builds for this game. I could not make builds for old school Oblivion. This is...
I've been converted pretty aggressively. Like I liked the I guess the forced effort of the original leveling system. But I also know that it was easy enough to like screw up your build entirely for the rest of the game.
And like I've had this opinion for years, but I'm like, no, I don't think that there's an abundant problem with like, hey, you need to put all of your points into endurance from the very beginning of the game so you don't turn into this spongy marshmallow that can get yeeted across the world in a single hit, you know? Mm-hmm. I think that it would be great if, I don't think that Bethesda will ever do this, but it would be great if they could figure out how to do the best of both worlds, where it's like, no, there's a floor for your health where you're not where that's never going to happen to you, but there's also the possibility that if you really are into min-maxing, you could do this or this with, you know, your attributes, and you could end up with a stupid large health pool by the end, or a stupid large magicka pool, or
this one, if you didn't notice, if you didn't realize, the endurance bonuses are retroactive now.
Oh,
they
so
are
glad about
fully
that.
retroactive.
I've been meaning to test that and hadn't, because someone mentioned it in my comments, and I was like, I can't test it right now, I'm way too busy, but that is such a relief.
Yeah. Like, it says it straight up in the text for endurance during character creation. That the increases are retroactive.
Yay.
So I'm like, I'm super happy about that, but I kind of wish they had done a situation where the problem with the old leveling system and having to do the endurance early, I wish you could still get the bonus of that, where it's like, no, if you did it early, you're gonna get extra, and if you do it late, well, we're gonna raise your floor so that you don't end up like too squishy type situation. I kind of wish they would have done the best of both worlds. What they did is fine. I'm not complaining about it. It's just like, I always looked at it and said, man, it would be really cool if they rewarded people for like really sticking to a stat from like the first level, you know?
Yeah.
And just dumping on it the whole time to get it as high as possible.
I don't know how far you guys have gotten into leveling, but I've maxed out everything except personality. And there is a point you can hit where if you add too many points to an attribute, like if you go up to like 99 on one, you actually lose out on some of the virtues you could use, because the math doesn't work out.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, and then it forces you to continue on by leaving like a couple of virtues unspent.
Damn.
Yeah. So, but that was like one situation where I just could not spend anymore.
So this is my question to you: how did you get, like, are you just sitting there grinding things away, or are you like exploiting the new leveling opportunities? Because it's very clear that the leveling system is no longer built around forcing people to grind a lot of stuff. They're like, no, we'll just give you the levels.
Well, the grind is still there. I will say that.
Yeah.
It's just not as grindy.
Well, I would argue that the grind is not there for Magic anymore.
I mean, I was still sitting for a couple hours in the afternoon. I still had to craft spells to get the best XP.
Yeah, well, that's
guess
just what I mean.
It's also determined by
because-
your specialty on your character, and mine was combat. So
Well,
it took longer.
the amount of experience that you get for magic is specifically it's straight based on how much magicka you use per spell.
yeah, but if you have a small magicka pool like I did,
Well,
it was
okay,
still
yeah, that
taking
makes
longer.
sense. So
I had to make potions and I named them Sippy.
sippy potions.
Sippy potions. My little juice boxes.
On the note of making potions, alchemy is my bread and butter in Bethesda games. It doesn't matter what Elder Scrolls game I'm playing. If alchemy is present, I am there for it. And one of my fondest memories is coming home from work and just like I had a 5.1 surround system hooked up to my PS3 in my bedroom at the time. And what I did was I turned all of the music down in the game and I would just wander through the wilderness picking flowers and mushrooms for a stockpile in my base.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to go out and look whenever I needed to make new potions. And I remember wandering through Blackwood and just listening to the rain and the thunderstorms. And God, it was so good.
Even pre-remaster, the thunderstorms are fantastic.
Yes.
in
So
Oblivion.
one of the first things I did was I was like, okay, I am gonna go and I'm gonna turn the music off and I'm gonna turn up the volume and I'm gonna shut my doors because now I'm in a studio, you know, with like sound dampening panels and stuff, and I have 5.1 in here. So I do the exact same thing. The Foley in this game is so much better than the original. Oh my word, some of the best virtual thunderstorms I've ever heard.
and seen.
It's amazing.
They have additional like skybox effects too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately are to some degree ruined by the the odd lighting system with like the tops of trees and whatnot.
We'll get into that a little bit.
Every game has its flaws and its
Yeah.
hiccups.
Yeah. Sarge, going back to stats and stuff, how much easier has it been to make builds in Oblivion Remastered?
Oh, 1,000,000,000 times easier. It was literally a case of in old school Oblivion, I couldn't really make builds because it was so easy to screw up in so many different ways. You basically would have to walk someone through exactly how to do everything in order to make a character. But now I can just be like, hey, set these as your main skills, focus on these attributes, get these items. And it just works.
Ah!
Which, yeah, it does. And it's amazing. And it's so easy for me to make builds as well. For a little creator behind the scenes sort of thing, the console commands are a bit different now, which is annoying. Especially for like getting cinematics and stuff, which we just
A
can't
bit
do
different.
currently.
Yeah, they brought a few back from Gamebryo, but the rest are unreal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Some of them
That's-
just don't work anymore.
yeah.
Oh, it was infuriating when I tried to close the game out using QQQ.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Like that was
doesn't
one
work
that I
anymore.
always knew. I was like, ah man, this isn't working. I'm sick of it. Just
no.
and then
Yeah. For me, the negative side of the new stuff is I can't get the cinematic footage, which I'd love to do because this is a beautiful looking game, and it's just like, no, can't do that. I've worked out how to get the camera free flying around, but I can't slow it down, I can't remove the HUD, like, I can't do any of that stuff in the console.
Yeah. Will and I ended up getting the
mouse
no HUD.
wheel.
What's the
Mouse
what?
wheel.
mod.
Oh.
You scroll down with the mouse wheel to slow the camera down.
Oh. Well, that's good. I'll still have the HUD in the way, which is the main thing I'm hoping they'll change in a patch at some point, just like a button that says remove HUD, because it's ridiculous
Yeah.
they didn't put that in there. But what I
The
can...
mod doesn't take much to install, so like
Yeah.
I would
but
still
it's-
recommend that.
I'm wondering if there is a HUD off switch command that nobody's found yet.
There
Yeah,
is
or-
a
'cause that's just
toggle
it.
HUD command, it does nothing.
Yeah.
I know.
Which is
That's what I found. I
crazy.
was like, okay, maybe it's been implemented some other way. I don't know.
I think all of us have been experimenting the exact
Yep.
same way and coming up with the same thing. It's just like, well, gotta fix it with mods, I guess.
Just throwing your hands up. I guess.
I guess.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fix your game.
What you can do with the console, at least on the build side of things, is I can raise skills easily and add items easily. Those are two
Yeah,
things
those
which
are still
have
there.
transferred over, which means I can get builds done very quickly without having to level grind or do long, lengthy quests to get specific items and stuff. Haven't figured out a way to deal with like enchanting and stuff to make that quick, other than just going through the entire Mages Guild until they let me in, which is annoying. But I'm sure I'll figure that out soon.
Get Frostcrag Spire. Yeah.
Frostcrag Spire. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
That's
it's a tower to the northeast. Yeah, the northeast of Bruma. There are 2 altars in there. You just need to buy the candles for them. The candles are like 2,500 gold each.
Oh, perfect.
But it's some of the player housing. On the note of the player housing that they made as just like DLC for the original, I'm really, really happy with what they've done with that stuff because it feels much more integrated into the game now.
Oh, yeah.
All of the new NPC dialogue that they've recorded where it's like, oh, you can hear about a location from someone instead of basically being left a home by some long lost relative over and over and over.
And punched in the face with all of the quest
notifications
alerts
at the same time.
Notifications, yeah.
Like that's something else that I'm doing it right now in my own playthrough. The fact that they're like, hey, we don't really show anybody how to find the Daedric Lords and their quests, so we should probably make a quest to lead everybody to every single shrine. So I'm happy that they've done something like that as well.
Wait. What?
You don't know about this?
I mean, I knew about it pre-remaster, where they were rumors that they could tell you.
No. Like there are little like notes tacked to like barrels and stuff in the Imperial City now. So if you go and pick up this note, which is left behind by the Mythic Dawn, it'll have a description on it. Like,
oh, that's from one of the new
how to-
DLCs, though.
Is that from a DLC?
Yeah, that's from the new armor sets.
I was going to say
It just happens to be
I'm not
Hersine
aware
Shrine
of
as
this.
one of the locations.
Well, yeah, I picked it up and it's like, oh, like go to Hersine, like it tells you basically to go to Hersine's shrine, and it's like, oh, so that's how I can find Hersine.
Yeah.
That's what I thought that's all that it was doing. It's a quest to try to lead you to every single shrine in the game.
It takes you to Hersine's shrine as one of the like 4 clues. And when you get to the 4th clue, you get into a little Mythic Dawn hideout, and that gives you access to the Mehrunes Dagon armor set as well as the weapons for a deluxe edition.
Yeah, I don't have deluxe edition, and I recognize none of this.
Okay, well that is news to me.
So the deluxe edition quests are very well integrated. I mean, they just fooled Will, so they're very well integrated into the game because they are also fully voiced. So
Not your
that
standard
part helps a
Creation
lot.
Club stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, God, I could talk for an entire podcast about like my problems and my hangups with the Creation Club because they're basically unbalancing the game.
Yeah.
I mean, how much should you care about balancing in a single player game to begin with? But it's like, well, I don't know, man. If you just do this one single thing, you get the best equipment in the game, and you bypass all the progression.
In Skyrim, though, it's totally fair because now the bandits can use magic arrows on you, and you can explode if they just shoot you once.
Man, this is one of the few things I've actually argued with commenters about. Normally, I'm very good at staying out of it, just going to the side, but I care about game balance, even in single-player games, and there's so many ways to ruin it.
And that's one of my main problems with the Creation Club. None of it is concerned about game balancing. And that's a big part of why I'm like, no, I think I don't want anything from Creation Club for that express reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like for Fallout 4, which I have, endless, amount of criticism for. Like one of my biggest challenges that I ever tried to do was be an explosives exclusive build, just a demolition expert. And there's a really big bottleneck on the type of explosives that you can make in that game, and have enough of from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So that was completely upended by one of the Creation Club additions for like when they added like what was it? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. The Enclave stuff. At the same time that they added the Enclave stuff, there was somebody who like had a whole bunch of it was like an explosive workshop or something, and I was like, oh, a lot of these explosives are really, really easy to make, and they completely change the demolition expert aspect of the game, which is like, in that case, it's fixing a problem that existed as a product of like Bethesda putting things in their games and then not developing them, as we were talking with Starfield and punching and blades and stuff. So sometimes it works out for the best, but other times it's just like, well, if I just go to Castle Dower in Solitude, I can find the best equipment right away with like the best version of Skyrim they have on Steam right now.
Yeah.
At level 1.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, I can steal a Daedric crossbow.
Yeah.
Same place. Like you just go to Solitude and be geared out.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're sitting here with Oblivion, and it's like they're tempting you in some of the cities. It's like, oh, look, inside of that display case, you're level 1. It's got a glass blade in it. You open it up, it's a freaking replica.
Yeah,
it's a freaking replica.
If Sarge had not started his challenge run already, I would have been like, "Hey, Sarge, doing only replicas run."
It's like. That level of like, oh, we know what you're gonna do here, and we're fooling you on this. Like that's the type of like friendly developer type stuff.
Yeah.
That I enjoy, because players are always going to try to min-max their way to the most broken system, and the fact that it feels like the remaster has basically given up on trying to stop players from doing that really
for the
nice.
most
like,
part. Some of the exploits are no longer doable, but
what exploit are you thinking of?
Well, the scroll duplication one, like you can't do anymore.
Well, you can still duplicate though.
You can still duplicate, but it's a different
it's a different system
thing. Yeah.
So
I was gonna say like some of the old stuff does not work, but there's people already finding new ways to.
I mean, well, there's something about this particular version of the Gamebryo engine that they use where it's like, I don't know, man. There's just something embedded in there that they can't seem to figure out how to fix. Like they figured it out in the long term, but for this particular version of the engine, there's just something about it.
Yeah. We should talk about that too. Like this is a Frankenstein of Gamebryo and Unreal.
Yeah.
That they're using to give us the remaster in the way that it looks and performs, with all like the quests and NPC AI and dialogue and stuff like that intact.
Yeah. It is impressive
somehow
that the
working
game,
together.
Yeah. It's impressive that the game still feels kind of like Oblivion, despite it being so much later. Like, there are moments where I'm playing it where it just is Oblivion, and I just kind of forget about the graphics and these tweaks that they've made here and there. It's weird.
It's very much... It's an incredible example of how to put a new coat of paint on something without losing the soul.
Yeah.
I think one of the most impressive things that happened whenever I started the game was, you come out of the sewers, and depending on who you are, you're going to go to a different location. For me, it's like, hey, I'm loaded down with a bunch of junk. I'm going to go to the market district right behind me. That's what I always do. And of course, the market district is like the most concentrated location for NPCs in most of the game world.
Yeah.
And I remember going into the market district in the original every single time, and I would hear one conversation between two NPCs. I walked in the first time, I heard 5 conversations at the same time. I was just like, whoa, this is not what I'm used to. So that, like, small things, but I am not gonna get I will never be used to the fact that they replaced the voices for some of the NPCs I always talk to.
Yeah.
Thorinir at the Copious Coin Purse will be one.
Yeah. Some of the like it was very noticeable, but it fit very well for a lot of them. The Argonians, for example, like their voices are so good. And fit so well into
Did they keep any of the voices for the original Khajiit and Argonians? Because I don't think I've heard the original voice for any of them so far.
I think female Khajiit had some of the original voices still. Males, I'm pretty sure, got changed.
I wonder what the reason for that was.
Just diversity in voices.
They
the same voice
about
actors
how
were being used for both.
Yeah, a lot more different voices and stuff.
Nords and orcs were using.
I understand that, but the lack of, but the complete removal of the original is what I'm confused about.
Yeah, it's just keeping it from overlapping too much, because now they had more talent available to do, different races as opposed to the same two races using the same voice actors.
I get that, but like I don't think that I've heard the original voices for any of those races, like the Khajiit and the Argonians so far. Like I don't think I've heard the male Argonian from the original Oblivion at all.
Yeah,
and I'm
because it would have been a full replacement.
But why do the full complete replacement instead of just keeping half of it? And I'm so confused about that.
Oh, I don't know.
Because like they did a partial replacement or expansion with like the guards in the cities and everything. They kept Wes Johnson's work, but they also added additional voices for some of the roles.
I want to say Wes Johnson did some more recording as well. I want to say,
be surprised if he did,
because he's very involved with like the voice stuff for Bethesda. So,
but like I don't know. It's just it's one story to add additional variation, but it's another to completely rip out an entirety of voice work from the game that was used for an entire race, and wasn't reused for another race. I totally get it. It's like, no, we're going to revoice all of the orcs because the orcs and the Nords shared the same voice. But the Argonians, to my knowledge, had a custom voice to begin with, and I just haven't heard the original, and I'm just like, what? Where's the original voice? Why is it not here at all? I'm confused. So I don't know. I am unnecessarily focusing on this. I'm aware of that. It's a thing for me.
Maybe. But what I was saying is I like what the Argonians sound like now. So, and on top of that, talking about visuals, hey, the beast races look great.
Yes.
They don't look like garbage like the previous games.
Speak for yourself. I liked the way they used to look.
I don't think Argonians and Khajiit looked bad in Skyrim. I think everything looked bad in Oblivion NPC-wise. Just straight up.
Okay. So insofar as the NPCs for the remaster, one thing that absolutely gives me the heebie-jeebies, like I never got this in the original, was the fact that some of them have mouths that are as wide as their head.
Nah.
I never saw that in the original, and I'm just very uncomfortable. Like, who is it? Jensine in the market district of the Imperial City. Her mouth is too wide. What has happened?
I think some of it is probably to compensate for the new like lip syncing tech that they use.
Maybe, but that's not the case for all of the mouths. So like, I think it's probably just a thing that happened in the course of like converting the NPCs over. Because I'm certain they didn't fully remodel every NPC. I'm certain there was some amount of automation where it was like, well, this is the model, and we're gonna run it through an algorithm or something, and then we're gonna clean it up. And what the algorithm spat out is probably the generic, like, well, yeah, that's we're just gonna keep it. We're not gonna majorly change it. I would imagine that's what happened.
Maybe. But also, I think it keeps some of the spirit of the original Oblivion if the NPCs look a little bit off.
Yeah, it's just the way that they're off gives me the more heebie-jeebies now.
Yeah. It does feel like they tried to kind of walk the line between making the new characters kind of look good, but also have the weird potato face and, oh god, it's an Oblivion NPC jump scare level of things.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify too. It's like character creation good, NPCs in the game still goofy looking. Because like when I made my Khajiit, it was very straightforward to make a semi good looking Khajiit.
Yeah.
And an awful looking one if I really wanted to. But like it was a lot easier than trying to, you know, mold something with the old system and try to make it semi decent looking.
I mean, the number of just like very dashing rogues that I've seen in screenshots across the internet at this point it's amazing, you know, because it's a Bethesda game. You don't expect the NPC to look good. That just, I've accepted that so long ago, and now I'm like, well, wait a minute, what are you doing here? You're stealing the spirit of the game from me.
Yeah. Some people might argue, and I talked about this in my tips, tricks, and new features video. I don't know if either of you guys watched that. But the addition of systems that make it easier for people that aren't necessarily like in your face. Like, I don't think they even talk about it in the tutorial. Like, there's now a passive health regen outside of combat.
There is.
Yes.
It's mentioned in one of the like things for the attributes. It's really bad. I should know what all the attributes do, but my brain's now just discarded the information.
It's endurance in this situation. Like, endurance determines how fast your health regenerates outside of combat, as well as how much health you have in total.
Yeah.
I'm of two minds on it, because like it's not a problem at the higher levels because you have so much health and it takes so long for it to really do anything. It's not what I thought it was initially, but at the lower levels, when you have a whole lot less health, it's like, because the first thing I did, you know, coming from the old game, is like, I need to dump stat endurance. My second character is not going to be that way, but that's my first character. So really, really quickly, I was like, I don't have a need for restoration, and I tagged the skill. And of course, they've revamped how fast the spells level, you know, and how they work in that regard. So that's been fixed. But I was used to having to cast restoration 4 times more than the fastest magic school to level up destruction. So it was like, for every 1 destruction spell you cast, you have to cast restoration 4 times over. So I'm building my character to compensate for those, you know, antiquated rules that no longer apply. And I'm like, I can't cast my restoration spells. I'm regenerating my health too fast because I'm dump statting on endurance. So for a bit of a moment there, I was like, well, this is broken and stupid. But I figured out that it's working for the better now. But
yeah. Also, fatigue is more directed towards sprinting than really anything else.
I have found that the fatigue potions are actually serving me way more purpose in this version because it's more directed at sprinting, because I can basically sprint for as long as I have a fatigue potion active, because it cancels out the amount that I'm using up. But also, I found it really, really useful in combat too this time around, because it's allowing me to use power attacks more often. I've noticed that power attacks are really, really effective. I remember them not being all that great in the original, and now it's like, no, they take a huge amount of fatigue, and you're not going to do that much damage if you don't have the fatigue for it. But they're really, really effective at taking down your enemies. It's not just that, and we can definitely jump into that in a sec.
But I did want to mention too that fatigue amounts don't determine your damage really either anymore, which is great. No, it's usually just a flat amount now, regardless
Wow.
of what your fatigue is. And also, to get KO'd, it's a lot more difficult. Like you have to drop down to 0 fatigue, and then also like either block a hit at 0, or they have to do a fatigue damaging move to knock you over.
That would explain.
And and the staggering is way less. Like agility has almost no play in it whatsoever anymore, which is so nice. Like talking about like less frustrating things that the original Oblivion had, like that is one of the main ones too. Because even later in the game now, like because of the skill reworks, which I was getting to, marksman has a chance to paralyze, and NPCs get that milestone as well.
Oh boy.
Oh yes, and it is hilarious if you're trying to level armor later in the game off of a bunch of archers.
I'm gonna have to keep that in mind.
But yeah, the power attacks are very strong, and also milestones don't force you to do like different like sidestep or backstep or whatever to like do those things now, which is a huge awesome change, and does incentivize you to use power attacks more because they're less annoying to pull off, because you just got to do them.
On that note, like I really do like the variation of attack animations now.
Yeah.
Like, so one of the things I love doing is just being like, okay, time to go find the Nern route. So I'll just follow the coastline, and at some you deal with so many mud crabs when you do that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so many mud crabs. So at some point I'm like, okay, how can I make this faster? And I think to myself, wait a minute, I am pulling out a longsword. There is a longer unsheathing animation for that than a dagger. Okay, I'm just gonna switch to a dagger then. I can kill mud crabs with a dagger, no problem. So I do that, and I realize that there's an entirely different attack animation because I've been using long swords the whole time. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool.
Little dagger
flipping
flourish.
the dagger around to like
Yep.
stab. Oh, that's ooh.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I mean, the amount of like just polish and finesse that they put on some of the things in this game.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and third person feels really good. Yeah,
It's
like
kind of
weirdly
funny.
good.
Oh yeah, but I think the thing that like stands out to me the most is the funniness of going into third person when you're running up like a vertical slope, as you do.
Yeah.
But like there is this extreme anime-esque sprinting animation that they give your character, and
The
just
sprint,
seeing that
the sprint goes so hard.
face it like your face first into a wall, just doing this ridiculous sprint animation. I'm like, oh my god.
I mean, it cracks me up a lot when I've been doing uniques only, and in that I was naked for like the first few episodes. So at one point I'm doing that stupid sprint animation while just in my underwear with a dagger in my hand, and it's so ridiculous, and I just loved it. It was great.
The I should have been arrested feel of that whole scenario.
You're that weird creepy beggar, you know? You're like, I don't know, man. He's naked and he's got a dagger. Stay away from him.
Yep. But I don't know if you guys noticed. Also, Blunt and Blade have separate milestone perks now.
They do, and I love it, and they feel more thematic, and it's so cool. Because I've just started working on a Blunt style character, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to make them quite tanky and lean into the shield effect thing, because using power attacks with a blunt weapon once you hit Journeyman? One of the ranks, I can't remember which one it is, but it gives you a shield while you're doing that. So it's like, it kind of feeds into this big tanky thing, whereas the Blade style is more about like dishing out additional damage, which is just brilliant with either damage over time or weakness of the effect. And it's just like, blades are like lots and lots of sharp little attacks which just build up over time, whereas Blunt is more like, nah, you're this guy who just does a big smash to kill the enemies, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. And the I think stealth milestones are more geared towards dagger bonus damage too now.
I think the very first one like specifically points out, hey, you get a big dagger sneak bonus.
Yeah.
Which is a nice thing to remind people.
I remember when they were doing the hype cycle for Skyrim, and they were making a really big deal out of how it's like, no, we've fixed the dagger situation because if you get close enough to use the dagger, it needs to do a huge amount of damage.
Yeah.
So, and I remember when I finally got around to doing that build in Skyrim, I was like, wow.
I feel like Skyrim overcorrected.
Yeah, but it was just like the amount of damage that you could get with the right perk, and then like if you got the gloves and whatnot to go with it, and it was like, my God, that's insane. So it's nice to know that because God, I remember thinking to myself, oh, I'm gonna use a dagger on a stealth build in the original Oblivion so long ago, and realizing, oh no, just the bow. Just the bow.
Yeah.
Never the dagger.
If you were doing it in Oblivion, like back in the day, you'd have to have a pretty strong enchantment on it to one-shot something.
Yeah, so the fact
that would be the
there's
enchantment doing the job, not necessarily the dagger you're using.
the fact that they've done anything to adjust or fix that is just, it's great. It's wonderful. I like the careful use. One thing that I am exceedingly surprised about, and also not surprised about at the same time, excuse me as I make a left turn,
Okay.
is that they still have the entire game world leveling with you. Like,
it seems
that is a big surprise to me.
Yes. It also seems to be like my character's pretty high level at this point, and even though there is some pretty severe some pretty major damage drop off with fists, because of course I'm playing that way.
Yeah.
They're not as spongy as they used to be.
Okay.
In normal difficulty, like there seems to be some sort of ceiling to it now, where there wasn't really.
That's good.
And my character's level 37, and I can still like punch something to death, and it doesn't take a year to do. It still takes a while, but
And I'm assuming your hand-to-hand is completely maxed. No, you said that all your skills are maxed out now. So
my attributes are maxed.
your attributes are maxed, not your skills. Okay.
My all the magic schools and hand-to-hand are maxed out.
I mean, I'm going to get there with my first character at some point. I do not look forward to trying to level up block specifically.
Yeah, that's actually made more difficult in this version, because the fastest way to do it was going unarmed, and now like the first, well, no, because if you have like base level unarmed, you can still get away with it. But once you hit like 25 unarmed, you'll knock enemies back. Like you'll stagger enemies if you block, which wasn't a thing in the original.
Yeah, because I remember trying to level up block on a character long ago in the original, and like I had hit end game, and I was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna level up block now. And I remember just standing there with the shield with like 4 bandits against me, and I kept doing that like deflect parry thing with the shield.
Oh yeah,
and it made it so much longer, and I was like, man, this freaking sucks. So if you get anything even close to that when you're blocking,
earlier is better
unarmed
for block skill for sure. Because now I've got so many freaking damage reflect things, I have to take most of my armor off to like not kill the things attacking me. Which is part of my character's build now too. Like I do a little chunk of their health, like 7%, 8% per strike, but then they hit me, and if it's like a minotaur or something like that, they take another like 10% chunk off of their own health by hitting me. So it's fun. It's a great little setup, and also like magic reflect is also like really fun.
Jeez, we are getting into the weeds about something here. It's like it's so difficult for me to put this to words, but just the fact that Oblivion has become so old, it feels new.
Yeah.
That is saying so much to me about Bethesda's games at this point.
It's because of the pioneering that was happening in that era, I think. Because like spellcrafting wasn't it introduced in Morrowind and then kind of honed in Oblivion?
I don't think that you could craft spells in Morrowind. The closest thing that you could do was
enchanting?
craft scrolls.
Oh, okay.
It was the enchanting system. You could take a piece of paper, enchant it to be a spell, and there's incredible stories from people who are like, no, like that's all I did. Because you get into combat and it's like, well, I only have so much magicka to cast the spells that I need. And of course there's the effectiveness of whether or not that spell is going to hit, because it's a dice roll system. So
sorry, that was just me vomiting everywhere. Carry on.
So there were people who specifically, what they would do is they would just soul trap or buy their soul gems filled already, find paper and just enchant slips of paper and make 1,000,000 scrolls, and scrolls are guaranteed to hit every single time in Morrowind. So that was the entire system that people were using back then. Okay. And my understanding is that instead of allowing you to do that in Oblivion, they built the spellcrafting system as an alternative,
which is largely one of the best features of an Elder Scrolls game of all time.
and what was it? I remember just 2 days after the game came out, I was seeing memes of people who had only ever played Skyrim being like, "Oh my god, I get it now." There were people who had only ever played Skyrim and they had heard, "Oh, Oblivion is better for all of, reason XYZ." And then they play it now and they're like, "This is what they took away from us?"
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
So, another meme was like, in Skyrim, they're like, "Oh, you want to be part of the College of Winterhold, do you? Cast a freaking spell at this sigil." "Oh, you don't have the spell? Well, here's the spell. Can you cast it?" Meanwhile, in Oblivion, it's like, "Okay, listen, bro. You're not getting into the university until you've gotten a letter of recommendation from every city. So, piss off and come back later."
Yeah. And you'll come back with like a whole bunch of cool stuff, and also like freely be able to loot all of the mages' guilds.
Yeah. God, they're so good for loot. It's
brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I haven't gotten to it yet, but the way that they took all of the DLC and they integrated it into the base game for this re-release.
Yes.
How have they integrated the Ori? Because I've noticed that the doors to the Ori are completely locked on the Arcane University. I haven't joined the Arcane, the Mages Guild yet. And I'm just like, I don't know how you're supposed to get in there. I know that it was just something that you could do.
Yeah, there's the NPC that wanders around in there, like in that room during the day. Like where
the front room of the Arcane University?
Yeah. The one you always have access to.
Yeah, she's missing. I can't find her. I've gone there like several times over, and I'm like, I'm not interested in looking into it right now. But
yeah, it's. I think that's one of the main ways. Otherwise, there might be a rumor that spreads from NPCs like a lot of the other ones, but
that's the weird part. I've heard the rumor several times over that it's like, oh, so and so needs the Ori repaired, but I'm not getting like the I overheard it.
Maybe she's stuck, because I've noticed that happens with some of the Radiant AI too. Like they just stop moving or doing their normal pathfinding for some reason.
I had that happen. I had that happen with the Vampire Cure quest, actually. Because, that's one of the infamous things of the original Oblivion, how broken the Vampire Cure quest was. And I got into the final stages of curing vampirism, and I go to Castle Skingrad, and I talk to Hal Lurs, the steward. And she's like, "Hang on, I'll go get the count." And she walks over to the stairs, and she proceeds to walk up to it, turn around, walk 2 steps back, walk back to the stairs, and she just does this over and over for an entire minute. And I'm staring at her, and I'm like, "Well, I'm glad that it auto saved."
I just reload the cell
when
that happens, because it's happened a lot, quite a few times.
How do you is there a particular method for reloading the cell without reloading the game, or?
I just walk out of the building that I'm in or whatever, and then walk back in.
Okay.
Passing time sometimes does it too.
I think I'm still carrying PTSD from the original Oblivion, because I was playing it when they were still patching it. I have a box on my shelf, and I remember that going through a door was a dicey situation.
Yeah.
In the original build of the game, so I built up this like secondary skill.
And it even is now.
Yeah, where it
wanna
was
talk
just
about
like, okay,
performance.
I'm at a door, time to save. It's like, open up, save. Okay, go through the door, roll the dice. Oh, it crashed this time.
That's
Okay,
happened
well,
about 3 times in the remaster.
It's happened
for
to
me.
you?
Yeah.
The only time that I've gotten crashes is when I've gotten crashes under 3 different sets of circumstances so far.
Was one
the
alchemy.
first one is with the alchemy glitch
Yep.
with stolen items.
Called it.
You found it before I did, so at the minute that you were able to reproduce it, I was like, well, I gotta go find this out. The second was, you know how sometimes whenever you go through random dungeons, it's possible to encounter just a friendly adventurer?
Yes.
So I was cleaning out a dungeon, and I was doing, like, okay, I'll carry everything back that I can, and I'll go back and I'll pick up the rest of the stuff because I'm trying to make money at the start of the game. I go back to pick more stuff up out of the dungeon, and just there's an adventurer has randomly spawned into the dungeon, and I thought that it was another bandit. So I was like, oh well, I got this on lockdown. I go into crouch, pull out my bow, poison it, hit him in the back of the head. Game completely crashes, and I'm like, wait, what? So when I reload, I'm like, okay, who is this guy then? So I get up and I walk up to him, and I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. Why on earth would poisoning you cause the game to crash?
Man,
Whatever, cool.
My first character, super buggy, all my characters since, not seen a bug, but the first character I played, I went into, like, the first dungeon, Vile Rin, or whatever it's called, like, straight when you
Vilverin.
enter the sewers, just walk forwards and you enter there.
Yeah.
I went in
Vilverin.
Vilverin, that's how it's pronounced.
Vilverin.
Vilviri. That's the one I went into. And there's like a bandit who sat down, and I attacked them while they were sat down. They became invulnerable to all forms of damage except for poison. And that was a fun one to work out.
I think you had footage of that, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
That was that was funny.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous, because I suddenly had this immortal bandit chasing after me, and I've just left the Imperial Sewers, so I'm hardly like a strong character or anything. It was, that was a fun bug.
Yeah.
That, now that you mentioned the way that you phrase that has reminded me of something that's nice about Oblivion over Skyrim. Skyrim, you don't have any like tagged skills. You have to work everything up from the bottom. Doesn't matter what style of play you have. It's really nice to make a build of a character and be like, no, these are the things that my character knew how to do before going to jail.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I can write backstories where the characters don't have to be incompetent.
Yep.
It's great. It's lovely, because otherwise it's like, oh, I'm going to make a really powerful necromancer, and here's their backstory. They were powerful. They forgot magic, and then they're in jail. It's like, no, I can just be like, yeah, they're actually powerful. And some skills, I think you can end up starting at like, I'm going to calculate. Is it 45 the highest you can start a skill at?
It's close to 50.
Yeah,
It's at least
don't
close
think
to
you
50.
can quite hit 50, but I think the highest any of the races have is like 15 will be a skill. Then you can get a 5-point boost from a specialization, then a 20-point boost from picking it as a skill. And that immediately gets you to like 40. I mean, I think there might be something else as well, but yeah, it's...
I remember doing that specifically in the original because of, the endurance boost, and I would always focus on armor because it would be like, I don't want to live without the ability to repair my own gear that's enchanted.
Yeah.
That sucks. Oh my god, does it
Oh,
suck.
speaking of milestones, that one got moved to 25 instead of 50. That's so great.
Yes.
Very
Yes, it
smart
did.
decision.
Yeah, but talking about the jank, like if anybody's worried that the jank and sometimes performance issues are gone, they're not. They still exist. There's maybe just in a different form.
Man.
In the remaster, I've had performance issues. I had to tweak the settings quite a bit to get the game to work right.
So what were the heaviest hitting tweaks you had to do?
Well, trying to run in full screen would just cause my monitor to flicker and not stop.
Yeah, like running in windowed mode, I remember, causes flicker on some of the shaders.
Yeah,
that has been an issue.
Regular window mode has been the saving grace for me. and borderless window mode would always open to my second monitor, and even if I accidentally tabbed over to the display tab, like it would automatically just switch to my other monitor again if I decided to move it to my main monitor. So I either had to be very careful in the menus to not tab over, but I'm using a controller, so I will tab over it if I'm going through like saves and stuff like that. So it would switch my other monitor every single time. I'm like, well, this is stupid. I don't want to deal with this every single time I have to, save or go into settings or whatever. So I'm playing in windowed mode, which fortunately, it compensates. So like the top of the window is on my second monitor. So like it's basically just like playing borderless, but it's windowed mode. So that was my solution. And also I had to turn a lot of the settings down just because I was running into like the default settings it was giving me was like high, and I was not able to break 40 FPS with those settings.
Yeah.
And
like
I had to drop a lot of the settings to get up to like close to if not at 60.
It kills me that there is such a significant difference between the medium and the high and the ultra high look of the game. And I'm just like, man, I walked up to one of the Daedric shrines and my freaking frame rates just tanked.
Yeah.
Like I was running it on ultra again. I think it was last night, and I walked up to the Hercene shrine, and it was like okay, the game, it's kind of getting around that 50-ish frame count, but I'm just playing on my own. I think I can live with this. I get up to the shrine, tanks to like 16, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell just happened, but I have got to. Like I was like, okay, we're good. I'm just gonna save. I'm gonna go back out to the main menu, swap the settings, and reload to make certain it goes right.
Yeah, there's weird spots too, like anywhere outside of Skingrad, because Skingrad is like a multi-layered kind of location, which makes it one of the coolest locations in the game. But for whatever reason, it's not the performance that tanks, but my computer, like all the fans activate when I'm in the region of Skingrad for whatever reason.
It's I think it's the CPU, because like I never run without multiple like resource monitors on my computer showing at the same time, and my CPU, like its usage really spikes whenever I get around Skingrad, whenever I got around the Hercene shrine and stuff like that, and the temperature on my CPU goes up as well, and I can hear the fans starting to like really spin up. And I'm like, well, okay, well, it's not a GPU thing. It seems to be a CPU issue. So,
but it like, thankfully I'm not running into the hitching issues a lot of people were running into. Like that kind of resolved when I decided to turn the effects down to a degree that like the game's still really nice to look at. Like it's not like an upgrade is an upgrade when you look back at the original Oblivion.
If anything, I think I'm happy that whatever I'm getting out of the game now, it's like I'm gonna pick this game up and I'm gonna play it again in 2 years' time. Okay, I don't think there's really much of a question for myself on that. And it's nice to know that like in 2 years' time, if I have built a new computer by then, which there's a pretty good chance that I might have done that, that I can actually take the graphics and turn them up and get that smooth experience.
Yeah.
Later on down the line.
I mean,
get that sexy 120.
I've been running on the Ultra, everything maxed out constantly this whole time.
Yeah.
And my biggest problem is that whenever they do like a little update, it resets everything to medium, and I have to go through and change all the settings.
Make sure to screenshot.
Been?
What was that?
How have your frame rates been for the whole time?
Mostly fine. There's been a couple of points it's dipped, like especially you mentioning earlier, like tons of people all talking at once when you go to the market district. I've had it where I've like loaded into the market district and there's like 20 NPCs who are all spawning in at the same time, and the game like will just freak out for a few seconds and then smooth out. But that's kind of a worst I've had.
Side tangent at one of the fun bugs that happens in the game. Enemies sometimes duplicate.
Wait, what?
Yes.
I haven't run into this.
Groups of enemies sometimes duplicate for no reason, and it's hilarious. And a really fun difficulty spike. First time I noticed it was in Kvatch, in the gatehouse. I opened the gatehouse door, and there was like twice the enemies in there.
Okay,
And
I remember you saying something about that, and I've played through, and I was like, no, I've not noticed anything weird like it.
all the guardsmen died.
I do not look forward to it when I finally get to doing the main quest, because like I'm now like 22 or 23.
Oh, it's
in
gonna
the
be
game.
like all Daedroths and
Oh yeah, I'm gonna
and
have
spiders.
a fun time whenever it happens.
That's gonna be funny. I hope you record it.
Oh,
Or stream
I
it.
mean, I might. We'll see where things go. I'm more concerned about like doing, like returning to my old formula, because oddly enough, I was learning After Effects. Basically, I was still learning After Effects whenever I started making my first videos for YouTube, and they were all on Oblivion. And I am, oddly enough, now relearning how to do a motion graphics pipeline with Blackmagic Fusion,
Hey.
Yay!
which is
DaVinci
it is an
Resolve.
entirely different paradigm for how you do compositing, and it is brain meltingly difficult. It's not that. And there are some things that you just cannot do in Fusion that you can easily
It could be
do.
because we're both old now.
It could be, but I mean, there are some fundamental things about Fusion that there are certain scripting things that you just can't get because you can't grab those values, because they're not available in Fusion, as opposed to this is a bit of data that After Effects tracks, and you can grab it and you can do some really impressive things. It's specifically scripts that allow you to like slide titles around on the screen, and they just naturally will have inertial bounce and whatnot.
Ooh.
And you have amazing control over that stuff in After Effects. This is behind the scenes. I hope I'm not boring anybody too much.
As
But
long
it's
as we
just
don't
like
stick on it for like 25 minutes, it's fine.
it's just there's some pre-made code out there to do some very impressive things, and it's
Yeah.
because After Effects has access to certain bits of data that it's actively keeping track of all of the time, and Fusion just does not keep track of that type of information. So trying to create a easy inertial bounce without using a separate piece of software or modifier or something, where it's more like, well, you can do that, but you have to go in here and you
Getting
have
one
to
of the
tell it to
plugins
calculate the thing.
for Fusion.
I mean, Fusion is still a very, very new thing to me. I'm only.
Oh yeah, like I know, but like that's probably the route you would have to go if you wanted to get a very specific outcome like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are things that you can do using built-in tools, but it's not the same, and it's not as intuitive as just using a very simple script, which is like, you it is what it is. And I can't do anything about that, and you work with it. And if something easy or amazing comes along, or someone listening actually points it out to me, wonderful, great, wonderful. But it's wild to me to basically be in the same situation skill-wise with the new software as I was with the old software whenever I made Oblivion guides. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're continuing to grow, and you're getting away from the Adobe ecosystem, which is generally a net positive. So
I mean, my biggest problem is that I never upgraded from CS6, which was the last version before they were like, hey, everything is in the cloud now, and I was like, no, screw you. I'm going to stick with the non-cloud stuff, and I'm super happy I did that. But now, like, just this year, like my monitors that I had started to go fritz out on me, so I had to buy new monitors. And I've upgraded to 4K. I have discovered that the editing UI for the old Adobe CS6 suite is not friendly with 4K resolution.
Does it not scale
doesn't
properly?
Scale up.
Oh no!
It was before they started scaling up the UI. So
you gotta wear
I'm like,
glasses to see what.
oh my god! Like I
see
just
your
like, okay, let me
interface.
install a piece of software that lets
Cool.
me like zoom in on an area.
Yeah, get the the grandpa magnifying glass.
Yeah,
app.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So, Like it's time for me to move on from one piece of software to the next, but that doesn't mean that there aren't growing pains.
Yeah.
And it's just weird for Oblivion to be the game for the growing pains to happen on again.
Yeah, because it's like a full circle kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it feels similarly to me too. Like, even though Oblivion wasn't my first foray into YouTube stuff, it was my first Bethesda experience. So, on the PS3, which is arguably the worst introduction to Bethesda
absolutely.
games. Even though I'm still a Sony fanboy, like, Bethesda games on Sony hardware is not not good. But being able to share the experience of that, like, knowledge just 2 years ago, and then all of a sudden, like, now everybody's kind of seeing it how I did as a younger person, because we have a view of the game through nostalgia glasses.
Yes.
And now the remaster kind of matches that, like, how we imagine it. Maybe a little less saturated, but it's still amazing to look at.
So I have to ask this. We've all played the original Oblivion to some extent.
Yes.
To some extent, yes.
What is your opinion about the change in the color palette?
It took me a little bit to get used to it, and certain objects blend in to the environment way too well now.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's a lot of places in the game that are a lot more atmospheric or play into their environment a lot better thanks to the new lighting and the new colors.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Or the adjustment to colors. Like, go ahead, Sarge.
I think it is a case of it's an overall improvement, but it's because other things are lifting more. Whereas what I do vaguely recall from original Oblivion is that they almost had to, like, just use bright colours to make things look interesting or look good, because they didn't have the fancier lighting, or they couldn't rely on things just overall being graphically interesting or good, that they had to kind of compensate with a more vivid and more varied colour palette. And I feel like now we've kind of got the inverse, where that's not been needed so much, but so then that's meant they've kind of distracted from that a little bit. And personally, I'm fine with it. The game just looks better overall, so I don't tend to worry about the nitty-gritty, but I'm sure there are going to be plenty of people who are annoyed.
I think my biggest surprise is just how not extremely green the world looks anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and depending on where you are too, like if you're in the Great Forest and it's a clear day, then that green does really show through. But there's so many different environmental effects now, like the fog and the rainstorms and the various other things, like it will create another filter over the top of those colors to make it, a little more desaturated than it used to be. But overall, I think minus some of the lighting issues that I have, it's still, like, really nice. Like even swimming doesn't feel like as much of a nightmare because the filter's not awful.
Yeah.
So, I like that a lot. Being able to just swim downwards to the, like, I didn't know about fin gleam until you brought it up, Will.
I'm absolutely amazed. Like, that was one of the first things that I made one of the first things I made a guide about.
Yeah.
Just the equipment that you can find.
But even if I didn't have the Khajiit passive or the Khajiit racial, like, night eye stuff, I could still probably find it. And I probably wouldn't have been able to in the original.
I mean, to a certain degree, I feel like they balanced fin gleam versus what it was in the original, because having night eye on when it's bright out is a bad idea now. Previously, it was like, well, great, you got night eye on, everything's really, really flat, but you can see everything evenly.
Yeah, you just blind yourself if you're wearing it now.
Yeah, now you're just straight up blind if you use night eye in.
But it's a great
daylight.
utility helmet.
Yes.
For sure. And it's not heavy because it's glass. So
No,
you know.
it's also one of the only like fixed items that does not have a variation to it at all. It is in a location, you pick it up, it is the same no matter what. And in my opinion, there's not enough of that in Oblivion.
I agree.
Go on.
I just said I agree. That's it.
Oh, sorry. So like one thing that I would be surprised if they changed it, but I need to check on. Have either of you finished the Knights of the Nine quest?
No.
Okay. So, did you know that you can forcibly re-level all of the equipment for the Knights of the Nine?
Yes, I knew about that.
Okay. That is a detail that not everybody knows about, which makes it kind of the best light armor in the game because you can pick it up whenever you need.
The deluxe edition armored weapon sets allow you to do that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the NPCs you get hooked up with, they're just like, what piece do you want? Here you go. And they hand you a leveled piece. They're not enchanted, which thankfully makes them kind of, still something you have to work up if you want to, or just get some of the regular gear in the game. But yeah, they have an infinite amount of like, do you want this piece? Here's one that's your level. And they don't have a gold value either, so you can't
sell them.
You can't
Okay.
break it that way either.
Decently balanced in that regard.
Yes. Yeah.
So on that note of like breaking the game, what did you guys think when you learned that there was a new duplication method available?
You mean like however many minutes ago you brought it up?
Yeah. Oh, did you not know about it until
I
then?
don't use exploits really when I play.
I know.
So it's something that always passes me by.
It's the thing I remain aware of, but it's forbidden knowledge to me. So I don't look into it any further.
Yeah.
Okay. So I won't explain how to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll do that for you because I get it. Like I don't know how it was for you guys in the past, but like the scroll duplication from the original version. Mm-hmm. I remember when the arrow duplication was the method that worked first, and then they patched it out.
Yeah.
Oh my god! But I remember whenever I played the original, I just got to a point where I was like, I cannot be bothered to find enough soul gems to enchant my stuff.
You said this during your stream.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna duplicate a bunch of empty grand soul gems. That's all I'm gonna do. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna make like 50 of these things, or whatever. And then and I was like, okay, it's a cheat, but you know what? I'm still gonna put the effort in. I'm gonna go out. And I'm gonna manually turn these into black soul gems. Okay,
that still counts.
It's a compromise.
it's a compromise.
So, but the scroll duplication. One of the main problems. Was that you had to like be careful how many you duped at a single time because you had to deal with the physics engine, and they would just like go all over the place if you tried to do that. Because you were physically duplicating them in space. The new duplication system, you don't have that issue because you do it inside of any container as long as it's not an owned container.
Oh, cool.
And that's it. Yeah. So 10 times easier, 10 times more stable.
Well, there you go.
So... Not that it interests either of you. I'm kind of on the same boat where it's
right.
like,
yeah. I break other aspects of the game like spell making.
That's just it. There's so many like legit ways that the game was designed to be broken with spell making.
That was the hilarious part of like I'm reconsidering it now, but I made the Skyrim leveling guide with the intent of like being a no glitch kind of guide, right? But as soon as I, like 2 years ago, when I fired up Oblivion again, I'm like, maybe I could make an ultimate leveling guide for this game. And then I looked into all the details of like how to efficiently level all the skills, and all of them were exploits. And I'm just like, well, I don't know if that's in the spirit of what I do usually. But now, I think it's much more. It makes a lot more sense in the remaster. I'm now reconsidering that because of like, well, for example, like the magic is very much related to magicka usage and stuff like that. And there's a lot of different ways you can level in that way just by either getting spells that have like high magicka costs that you're able to cast, and or crafting spells, and even combining effects to make the cast higher and keep the skill requirement lower.
Yeah.
Which is, it's still like not exactly an exploit. It's just using your known spells to make, you know, a more powerful. Dude, spellmaking is so cool.
Spellmaking is like the pinnacle of Oblivion. Debatably, you could also argue for sigil stones, but man, farming sigil stones sucks.
Yeah.
I quick save every single time.
Yeah, that's the way that it is. You get up in front of the stone, save in front of it, pick it up, see it added to your inventory, check what it is. Is it the right thing? No.
Yeah, I don't want water breathing. I don't. Why would I need water breathing, man?
I mean, the one use for water breathing is to get the Thingleam helm, which gives you water breathing.
Yes.
And then,
yes.
Self-defeating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I always get the, what is it, the Jewel of the Rumare every single time I play, because I'm just like, no, I don't want to have to worry about breath underwater.
Oh, you mean the ring that the game considers an artifact that is definitely like doesn't that shouldn't qualify at all as an artifact compared to all the other artifacts in the game? That one, that ring.
Going there now?
Is that the ring you're talking about?
No. What have you done, Will? What have you done?
I'm so mad. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just got a little uppity for a second.
No, I can't imagine why. I mean, golly, I'm super happy about the spell making in the game, you know? And I never really did a whole lot of it in the original because I was like, whatever, like I'm just gonna buy my spells, etc. This time around, like I am bound and determined to start making sensible spells off of it. And admittedly, you can absolutely like just wreck the spell system because of the fact that all of your experience is based on how much magicka you spend. Mm-hmm. What I don't know is whether or not the amount of experience you get for casting a spell is based on the percentage of your total magicka or just a direct translation of.
I think it's an actual just a direct amount.
A direct amount?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Once I started hitting like 100 cost spells, like all of the schools filled up pretty quickly.
They just fell right away before long. There was nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. But I also I was spending an afternoon just sitting there self-casting a bunch of spells. So
I'll never forget this, but there was when my family got their first desktop computer, my dad bought a sound system with it. Okay, and the satellite speakers, they had these tiny little like plastic feet that were like, I don't know, half an inch long or something. And I remember sitting there playing Oblivion and wanting to cast my light spell over and over to level up my illusion, because I could continuously I had gotten to a point where I regenerated magicka faster than my base level light spell consumed it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to sit here and hold that button down. That's really annoying. And then I looked over at these old speakers that we had for years on end. And I looked at the little foot on the side of it, and I looked at the keyboard.
It's like just heavy enough.
Wait a minute. And I rotated the keyboard and just balanced one foot on that key. And I looked up at the screen and I was like, oh my God. And I went and took a shower.
Yeah. And then you were master illusionists. By the time
I was a master illusionist when I came back.
The
It was the beauty of like, you know, tying a rubber band against the the joystick to level up athletics.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that for sneak, that got patched. That got changed. You can't just move into a wall; it stops you.
Yeah, I did notice that. I did notice that.
Yeah, you have to like actually do it.
What I think I've seen people doing is taking a rubber band and specifically on an Xbox controller because of where they're located.
Yeah, just making it turn.
Physically.
Yeah.
Yeah, just tying the two together, and it's just like, no, you're sneaking in a circle now.
Yeah.
Just, well, that's a I never thought of that.
Yeah. I mean, I've been largely playing on the controller too. I will say one of my complaints is when storing things in containers, I don't like that you have to use extra inputs to like put things in a container.
Boy.
And
boy.
it's even worse on controller.
We had to.
I will say that.
Get to this topic.
There's a few changes that are like a few UI things that didn't quite do the trick.
No. It's the menu system. The menu system, full stop. It was like, what the hell were you thinking?
Yes.
Why? It's like, oh, I want to loot something off of this body. Well, we're not going to tell you what your weight limit is right now. It's like, why? What the hell is wrong with you? This game is half about looting stuff. Why have you taken away my ability to see what's in my inventory on the fast loot screen? That makes no sense. Oh, what about the fact that whenever I open my inventory and I scroll down to the bottom and I'm like, cool, I see what I need. I close my inventory and I'm like, crap, wait, I need to double check that. I open the inventory back up. In the old version of the game, it would return you to the exact same scroll spot. Nope,
Yep.
in this version, right back to the top. Okay, start scrolling again.
Same complaint with maps.
Yep, maps, exactly. You open the map, yay, I want to see the local map. I have had to inform so many people that a local map exists in the game because
me too.
It's hidden.
Yeah.
I specifically put a whole section into my beginner's guide just being like, people are going to miss so much of the basic
I am so glad you did
stuff.
too, Sarge. I feel like we're doing our due diligence by making sure people know that there's a local map, because I didn't think there was in the first several hours I played.
I mean, and then of course, like, oh, hey, this is really cool. In the original, you couldn't zoom in and out of the main map. You made it available in the new version. But hey, guess what? We're not only gonna hide the local map, but you can't zoom on it. I was like, what? Why? Here's another one. I couldn't tell whether or not anything on my soul gems were filled.
Yeah,
I couldn't
that's a
tell if they were
wild
full
one.
or empty.
Yeah.
And I was complaining about this while streaming, and someone was like, no, just hit the button. And I was like,
You have to the
what?
show details button.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
have
was
to
like,
hit that to see. Yeah.
why is it here?
Yeah. It's
What?
really dumb.
This is such pertinent like, you should at least have like an icon or something, like a tick or whatever over the icon, if nothing else. But no.
Yeah. So
no, we
the
can't
inventory, I will agree. The inventory specifically does need a lot of work, or could use some updating because of the lack of information in those examples, and also categorizing the categories of items.
Oh yes.
Didn't come into the remaster either, which is really annoying. When you want to find a specific thing, and on controller, left and right on the D-pad do nothing in the inventory menus. You can't.
What?
You can't page up or down. So you have to have it accelerate slowly to where you want to be.
That was
awful.
something. Yeah, I remember that now, because like I've played enough like Breath of the Wild, okay, and Nintendo was at the very least pretty smart about your ability to get around in your menus really, really fast, because the right stick will page up and down to the next screen.
Yeah.
So I start doing that. I start messing around with the menus in the remastered, and I'm like, what do you mean I have to go one icon at a time? No. What's wrong with you? But above and beyond, the thing that bothers me the most as like a bread and butter alchemy lover in these games is the fact that the better your alchemy equipment, the lower everything is alphabetized.
Yeah.
So expert is lower on the alphabet than novice. So the better your alchemy equipment, which you have to activate to do your mixing, is at the bottom of the list.
I just put it in my
instead
radial.
of right at the. You're right about that.
I just put the mortar and pestle in my radial. With how slow the scrolling is for me, I just
I mean, one of the things that I'm gonna have to get is, I remember there was a mod that I used for the original a long time ago, which was extended hotkeys, because one of my methods was that I would immediately try to like enchant an entire set of clothing to enhance my mercantile skill. So I would be able to sell stuff better because mercantile leveling it was just arduous in the original. I'm super happy for how they've changed it now.
Same. Yeah.
Like I love the fact that it's like, no, it's based on the how much money, not how many items. So you no longer level up by meticulously selling one arrow at a time.
Yeah. Now you can just sell thousands of gold worth of potions and it'll level.
Yeah, I freaking love it. I absolutely love it that way. But I remember using an extended hotkey program because I was like, nope, screw mercantile. I'm not going to level that up the hard way. And the hotkey mod worked with the numpad, and it was like, oh, if I just hit this one button, it'll equip all of my mercantile equipment all in one go.
Ooh.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Like
I love
loadouts.
that. And I'm like,
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you could make loadouts and everything. I was like, the radial menu is just so small, and I didn't realize how much I loved the favorite menu from Skyrim.
Yeah.
For that reason. And I'm like, man, like I need a favorite menu, or I need like that loadout, extended hotkey option, because this radial, it's not doing it. It's not enough. So that is by far one of the things that I think that they should have done something better about, how many hotkeys you have. And I think I think having a shortcut favorite menu really is what they should have done with this version, and that's just a quality of life thing. But what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still of the mind that the radial menu still has a place, but having a favorites as well is nice.
I would love to have both. It would be
Yeah.
fantastic,
But I'm also like, man, I love me a radial menu, especially like I always bring it up. I always bring up how Prey did it, because once you hit the maximum amount, like it just becomes a spiral and you can just keep going. And that I want that in more games, and I haven't seen any other game do that. Because it's like, you can have as many things favorited as you want, because it just keeps going. It doesn't stop at 8 or whatever. It just keeps going, and you just have to scroll a little further. And yeah, it's and with mouse and keyboard or controller, it just works great. So it just works.
Yes. Oh God, no, again. So like, and by far, I think one of the things about the radial menu that is a mistake is the fact that when you bring it up, it doesn't pause the game.
Yes,
a lot of people are. That is a full stop feature of radial menus for the most part, and not having that, I think, is a really big negative for especially modern gamers who have never experienced some of the older stuff.
Yeah, and I thought they were doing it kind of like Avowed does, and it slows down the enemies as you're selecting whatever in your radial you wanted to select. But no, they're still full speed, and they're beating the crap out of you where you're trying to fumble through your menu to use a potion or whatever.
That's something that hasn't even occurred to me, because like a couple of the previous games I've been playing are Atomfall, where I just had it where menus didn't like pause time or anything, and Elden Ring, and the Souls games don't let you do that. So my brain is now wired to the point of menus don't stop time. That's my brain's just used to that now.
Measuring hardcore kill you very easily games to
this is the
a
problem,
game
though.
that is
I've not yet readjusted to like
a little
standard RPGs can be nice to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like until
or at least
you guys
on
have
paper,
brought that up. Yeah,
on paper, it's supposed to be nicer to its players, but in this case, it's not.
Oh boy. Well, I look forward to getting into the weeds on a lot more like the spell making and stuff for this. And I mean, I don't know how many videos I'm going to be able to get out for this game, because how many videos have each of you put out for this game now?
The remaster, one.
I have
so far for you.
Technically, I've put out 5. Like 2 of them is it real? It is real. But I've also made 2 character builds and my Ultimate Beginner's Guide. The Ultimate Beginner's Guide really weirdly has, I think, the best like revenue to view thing of any video I've ever made, which is wild.
I mean, when you get in on the ground floor, like it's gonna be interesting seeing what's happened with my income from my YouTube for this last month, because I was like immediately after it came out, one of the first things I did was I was like, well, they said they didn't really change much, so my alchemy guide still probably applies.
Yeah.
I'm and that's what I do. I'm like, I'm gonna do my alchemy thing. So I go back and I watch the video, and it dawns on me. I was like, wait a minute, is this still searchable? So I search Oblivion alchemy guide in like a private tab so there are no recommendations or algorithm stuff. And sure enough, it's like one of the top 3 results.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm certain that's going to change in no time.
If you haven't already, add remaster to your metadata, because like,
oh yeah, you're right. You're
probably
right.
help as
that will
well,
help.
because it works. It still counts. I did that with all of my Oblivion guides that I did 2 years ago.
The other part of it, my God, is the fact those videos were made before I had the microphone that I'm talking into right now.
Oh yeah.
So, like, I don't have a whole lot more time here, but I'll share this story.
It's already,
when I started
it's already
making, say what?
It's already 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I told you I got a little bit of flex time before I'm out, but but the story here is that how there's like that normal headphone jack that you have for like a microphone on your computer,
3.5.
Yeah, I think the 3.5 jack. Yeah. So that was all that we had in my house whenever I started making videos. So I took a dingy little $5 or $10 microphone with a 3.5 jack, and I stretched a napkin in front of my face for a pop shield. And that was how I did all of my audio work.
Oh wow!
And I didn't, and it, because it sucked holding a taut napkin in front of my face with a microphone that wanted to like fall over constantly. I talked really fast, and I chewed my words at the same time. So like my Oblivion guides are all like, so like I'm talking in a low tone. I got a lot of vocal fry going on. I'm not enunciating, and the audio quality is desperately awful. So I'm watching my Oblivion alchemy guide, and I'm like, oh man, this is a product of its time.
So are you gonna remaster it?
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
Okay.
Well, we'll see. I've got a lot of ideas. I got a lot of ideas.
Nice.
I'm not entirely certain what's going to come through the veil.
Yeah. Well, since we're kind of already talking about it, and you mentioned what you plan to do, what else have you been up to, Will?
Lots of streaming, mostly over on Twitch.tv, and to a certain degree over on my main channel, specifically with Oblivion. My Oblivion streams are going up on my main channel because it's so bread and butter to my my history. As for other things that I've been getting myself up to with games, Abiotic Factor, if you've never heard of it, it's basically the concept of Half-Life, but you're not Gordon Freeman, and you're survival crafting your way out of the disaster in a science facility.
So you're the scientist that die a lot in Half-Life.
Yeah, you're the scientist that dies a lot in Half-Life.
Cool.
I think you're specifically an intern, according to the story.
So. Nice. You're not even security.
Nope, not even security. The security have like locked themselves inside of like little, bulletproof boxes, and they're like, well, I'll sell things to you, but I'm not doing anything else.
That's great.
So yeah, that's mine.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
That's it. You if you want to know if I'm doing anything else with freaking Oblivion, well, I listen.
No spoilers.
In the art of war, you do not share your battle plans.
Okay, nerd. Well, Sarge.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I've been playing Oblivion.
Wow.
I've actually not played that much Oblivion. I've just checked and I'm at 27.6 hours, which is, a decent amount. But I've spent like at least double, triple that just making videos, doing lots of writing and editing and stuff. So yeah, on the main channel. Oh, go on.
That is the main challenge. Not to interrupt you, but it's just like, man, I want to play more of it, but I have to make videos about it.
Yeah. I've spent way more time making videos than I have playing the game at this point.
I indulge a little too much, so...
Same. Wait a minute, what hour are you at, Caedo?
Why are you asking me?
Because I'm going to share mine next.
73 hours.
Oh my god! You got me beat. I'm at 48.8.
Man. That's... yeah. It's just so much.
If you're wondering why I'm level 37...
Yeah.
Whenever you were talking about sitting there like casting spells over and over, I was like, oh, I know where this is going.
Yeah, I forgot to mention which spell I was leveling my destruction with, because it was really funny. I was using like a self-damage fatigue spell, so after so much time I would just fall over.
What is he doing that shack on the waterfront all the time? I don't know, man, but he falls over. I look through the window.
This is really funny way to level your spells, is damage fatigue.
It's great. I freaking love it. I absolutely love it.
Anyway, keep going, Sarge.
I might be doing...
yeah, I've done my Ultimate Beginner's Guide on the main channel. If you're wanting to just learn like all of the basics of Oblivion and you haven't jumped into it before, then I'll recommend that to anyone who's listening. And it seems like I'm going to be doing a character build every week for a while, providing they do okay. The first one, like, lots of people clicked on it. This latest one, it hasn't done great, but I'm going to stick with for at least a few more builds before I get a real idea on how much of an audience there is for this.
I am looking at real time right now, and there's another weekend spike hitting. It's not going to be as hard as last weekend, but it's spiking again. So
yeah,
that's good.
I've not had crazy views, which is a shame. But like I say, my beginner's guide, it's at 18,000 views at the moment. But I'm comparing it to like my Atomfall tips and tricks, which is at like 17.5. And the Oblivion video has made like twice the amount of money for about the same amount of views,
and
which is really weird.
And it wasn't out as long either.
Yeah, it was wild that this video, for some reason, YouTube's just either everyone who's clicking on it is just sitting there and watching the ads, or YouTube's like, oh no, this video will pay you more for.
No, we're getting Oblivion bucks. We're getting Bethesda buckos.
There's something to be said for like an entire generation of 30-some-odd-year-old men who are just like, I played this when I was young and I will do it again now, but I don't remember any of it, so I have to watch YouTube.
That's fair. Yeah. And on the second channel, Bad Company Gaming, I've been doing a unique Sony challenge run, which has been kind of fun. It's just nice. Mostly going to be doing Dark Brotherhood than the main quest line.
I've been enjoying that. Watching that too. Yeah.
Been a regular commenter.
Man.
Yeah. And I enjoyed watching you run away from Grom and have him get killed by the guards.
Yeah. That's like been my first real hiccup in a mission. I remember that Dark Brotherhood mission being really annoying, but he's so difficult to sneak around, like, unless you're like proper good at stealth already. And I wasn't.
For context, we're talking about the bodyguard at Balin's house in Bruma, where you got to drop the
that one. Okay.
The head on the head display on him.
Yeah, kill the guy who's completely oblivious, let the guy who's super perceptive live, which is obviously quite difficult at points, because the second he spots you, he's just locked into combat. But
how lovely.
Yeah, that's been fun. Outside of Oblivion, I've got Loop Hero on my phone now. Not sure if either of you two are aware of it, but it's like this little...
I know about it. I've seen someone else stream it.
Yeah, it's like a sort of roguelike game where you don't play as the hero going around this loop, but instead you equip them with different items and build the world around them to like influence things, and it's quite a fun little neat design, and it was being given away for free like last week, so I picked it up on my mobile, and I've been playing that a bit, and I've also been playing Far Cry New Dawn. I've just been shooting stuff, and it's a very fun casual game for me.
Nice.
I don't really have much to say about it, but it's been fun.
I remember the saw blade gun being fun.
Yes.
It's Far Cry. I mean, you don't really have to think too hard
Yeah.
about the fact that it's like
Nope.
I mean, it's one of the things that's fascinating to watch some players experience today, where they've never really, because it's been so long since there's been a new Bethesda RPG in the vein of, you know, the Elder Scrolls and everything. There are a lot of people who are just like, what do you mean? Where are all of the icons for where I'm supposed to go and find stuff in the world? It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. And they're just people that don't understand the concept of like, no, you got to go out and explore. As where if you pick up an Ubisoft open world game, it's like, oh no, like I don't have to think about this. The icons are there. I just walk towards them and do my thing. So.
Yeah, a fair few of the Far Cry games for me are just, I can shut off my brain, walk towards pointer, and just shoot things. And it's
which
it's
which
nice
is good
to be able to do that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I don't want it in a Bethesda game.
No,
I will riot if they try to do that.
Yeah. we need brain thinky in Bethesda games. We don't want brain thinky in Far Cry games.
No.
Please give me exploration incentive.
Yes. Uniques? Uniques? Did somebody say uniques?
Oh no. Moving on.
Caedo, what games have you been playing?
Well, I don't know if you guys would be surprised or not to hear that I have been playing Oblivion a little bit.
Shocked.
No,
tiny bit.
like that's 70 some odd hour count. No.
I am having a bit of analysis paralysis, and also, you know, Will and Sarge did see my sub rant of the unofficial Elder Scrolls wiki and separating out uniques for whatever stupid reason they want to.
Yes.
And the fandom wiki also like not being very consistent in showing leveled items and their stats and stuff like that. And I did take a peek at Fextra Life just to see it's complete trash. Don't use Fextra Life at all. I was just checking, okay? I was just checking just to confirm that it's trash, and it's trash. I
love how you bring this up, and immediately I remembered a discussion that somebody was having on the subreddit for Oblivion, and they were just like, well, I was trying to find stuff on Fextra Life, and the entire sub descended and said, don't. Just don't.
Why would you do that?
UESP.net.
Yep.
Nowhere else.
Yeah. Unofficial Elder Scrolls Wiki is still a very good resource, just not for what I needed it for specifically.
Yes.
And now I have a running list after combining those two separate articles that I wanted to use. So I'm putting together some possible lists for countdowns, and also considering doing a Doomstone/Runestones guide, because I never did one of those when I did the guides a couple years ago. It was like on my back burner of like possibles. Shadow Banish Wine, maybe.
Oh man, one
like,
of my utter and complete obsessions with the game, because it's so random.
But it's the thing, they do have set locations. Like I even mapped it out already. I just don't.
Really?
Yeah.
All these years, I thought that it was completely random.
Yeah, let me show you. I'm gonna show you right now. I have the map that I made for it specifically.
My God, no wonder. I thought it was random this entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, there are.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
This game keeps giving all these years later. Also, it's been lying to me this entire time. I want you to know that I need to end you now.
Oh.
You have ruined something for me.
I've taken away the mystery.
You've proven to be me to be wrong, and that's not okay. So
Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry's not good enough. Get ready to taste my blade.
Yeah, but I found out that there's a hoe you can get from Sundercliff Mines, the Mehrunes Razor quest dungeon, the like big ass dungeon, and this hoe has a chance of dealing like every disease in the game.
A hoe as a weapon?
Yeah. So that's gonna be in my blunt weapons lists. Just
okay. Wait, I have to ask for clarity really fast here.
Yes.
Are hoes equipable as weapons normally? Because they shouldn't be, right?
They are in the sense of this this like little DLC thing, because the workers are using them there.
Okay.
But this one is a specific like unique version of it that it doesn't have like a different name. So it looks like a mundane hoe, but then as soon as you start using it, you start inflicting diseases, and you get like the visual effect and stuff like that. And it's goofy, it's hilarious, and it's there's one disease that only it can apply as well. And I don't have it up right now to tell you, but it's a pretty hilarious weapon and something that people should know about. So
I just want you to know that I'm gonna go back through this podcast and I'm gonna find you saying it's a pretty mundane hoe, and I'm gonna turn that into a notification on my stream now.
Okay.
So.
Please do. That's one of the out of context Caedos that I approve. So yeah.
Okay, I keep interrupting. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. 76. I've still been playing Fallout 76. I've gone way into the recent Ghoul season. They have a mini season running right now, which is like old school burglar kind of or heist themed. And I already got the rewards for that one too. And generally, it's still, you know, kind of a good cooldown game, like turn your brain off kind of thing for me.
Yeah.
And I mentioned already, but I spent a lot of time building both of my camps back up, with all the new camp additions that I got through the scoreboard and through just spending the atoms I've accumulated over the years just from doing, you know, challenges and stuff. Because again, I've only spent money on the game one time. I'm very proud of myself.
You bought it?
Yep, that's when I bought it.
Oh man.
Yeah. So like I've gotten more than what I paid out of it for sure at this point. But beyond that, I've been playing cooperative Baldur's Gate 3 some more with Kite, with my partner. And as a reminder, they're playing Dark Urge, which is the evil origin character that you can play, that's fully customizable. And I'm playing as Origin Karlach because she is too much of a treasure to leave alone with a Dark Urge and not control her, because she will die. So I switched Karlach's, because she's normally a barbarian. I switched her to the new subclass of monk, which is Drunken Master. Going back to the Drunken Master comment you made, that's a subclass of Baldur's Gate 3 now. And I am still very much enjoying that class. It's got a lot of the flair from the old Jackie Chan film. Like she does all the poses, and one of the moves, I think I mentioned it last time, is Intoxicating Strike. She like bartender juggles a bottle into the air and then punches it into their face to intoxicate an enemy, and it's amazing. And I'm also playing a sword singer. I keep messing up the name of the class. It's a wizard subclass. It's wizard with swords, and that's also a lot of fun.
Not quite as amazing as wizards with guns, but I mean, hey, what can you do?
I set up Gale with the dual wielding feat as like his first one, I think, or his second one. I don't remember. Under Dakuba's recommendation, and I can confirm that it is absurd that he's a dual wielding wizard that has, you know, sword powers on top of his powerful spells. It's incredible. And of course, Kite's playing around with the new druid subclass, and then of course Astarion, the vampire husbando is, I think Kite just went with thief, which is was a default subclass, and thief's thing is like they get double, they get 2 bonus actions to like kind of do whatever they want. So that's OP too. So we're just really we're a power team of murder hobos, in this playthrough, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. I don't think I've been doing really anything else besides hopping on and off Oblivion and everything else. So
I mean, yeah, Oblivion gonna take up a lot of your time.
Oblivion.
I think it's taking up a lot of our time, all of our times.
Oh, I updated my PS5. And that's it.
You know, I mean, with how long it takes to update a console these days, yeah, that's an entire process.
Because we had a Blu-ray that we wanted to watch, but of course, I wanted to update the PS5 so it was ready to play the Blu-ray.
Oh my god! One of the running jokes on social media is, "I'm a dad and I don't have a lot of time to play video games. I had an hour tonight. This is what I played." Update screen.
I'm glad I'm not a parent. Just gonna throw that out there real quick.
We're millennials. We're a generation that doesn't really have much of anything going for kids.
Yay!
You're kind of the majority if you don't have kids. If you're a millennial.
Oh, and I can do whatever I want. It's great.
And I'll never hear, "You're not my real dad."
Yeah, and they're not digging into our cookies. Those are our cookies. My cookies, my ice cream, my snacks.
All right. And I gotta get going. I gotta stream and stuff.
Okay, yeah, let's call it here. Thanks everybody for watching and or listening. If you want to find Will Strife over on his Twitch or on his YouTube channel, those will be linked down below. Same with Bad Company Sarge. I'm pretty sure you know him at this point. He's been.
Hope so.
Oh my God, he's been on like every episode almost.
Wait, Sarge, have you been there the whole time?
I've been here the whole time.
And of course, thank you to the supporters of this podcast as well as the main channel. I really appreciate it. As well as Wasteland Legends, Sven and Rose. We'll see you next episode and maybe talk more about Oblivion. I don't know what. Every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.
Bye.
Sarge, you gotta say bye.
Cool.
No.
Sarge stopped recording.